up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? Celtic Warrior Damon.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Boom. Did it. No producer necessary. No producer needed. That's right. Welcome to episode 1 of Wrestling on the Rocks. That's right. This is the show where every show is our first show because we strive for perfection and are never even remotely close. So until we get the first one right, we're not going to move on to the second one. That would be unfair to you, but more unfair to our numbers because we're not good at counting either. So win-win. Guys, I am at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR The Show. And with me today, special guest, filling in for Kevlar due to a Phoenix Suns game, which apparently is a sport of some kind. We have at Justin Time 211. Justin, say what's up, man.
What up, episode 1 connoisseurs? I'm back for an episode 1. I love it. Always.
I felt like it was only appropriate. Once I knew that the Suns were going to be playing and I would not have Kev with me because some balls are more important than others. I thought it was only fair to reach out to you specifically because last time we went a little heavy on you and we felt like we may have quieted you down in the chat a little bit, and I was like, let's give Justin a chance to come back and defend his honor, speak for himself, and get all that vitriol out right on top of us. So,
well, the thing was, I didn't feel singled out. It's just I'd like to keep quiet because when you guys start talking, I don't want to like immediately jump in there all the time and just completely derail the show. Like,
that's true.
I let you guys do the talking. So, and then when the derailing happens, it happens.
It does. And it does happen. It definitely happens. That's the thing. So we appreciate that too. But yeah, at the same time, like I even said then, so it's one of the reasons why I'm really happy to have you back is I do feel like that the things you tweet at JustinTime211 on Twitter are overwhelmingly encompassing of a lot of the opinions. Like you share a lot of opinions with the large majority of the audience, which I think is fantastic. And I think you speak it in a really clear and definitive way, sometimes colorful, but always with passion. And I like that. You know what I mean? Because you never are yelling at it with the intent of tearing it down. You're yelling at it with frustration of either not liking it or maybe you're getting so involved emotionally that you can't help but be like furious, but you also super celebrate all the things you like. And so I really like that too, because a lot of these sites that we see, places or accounts, they pick a side, you know?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Definitely. I just got tired of doing, because I used to get in arguments with people all the time and I'd be like, well, this is not right. Your mind state is wrong. And it's just, you get tired of doing that after a while. Like, just got tired of doing it. And it's like, I just left it at, if you don't like my opinion, just leave it. If you do, there you go. Like, we're not here to attack each other. Like, come on.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of conversations. I've even tried to have just general conversations where people ask specifically a question to me. And when I give them the response they're looking for, if it's not in agreement with them entirely, they just resort immediately to name calling or something along those lines. Yeah. And I go, oh, I thought this was a discussion with the seeking of understanding. That is not the case. It was meant to be a powwow of like-mindedness. And what we really like doing here is getting those together who are not of like-mindedness, but of like-heartedness.
Yes.
So we can yell at each other and still have a drink and still be friends.
Our side of the IWC. Again, you guys make it what it is.
You are the curator, the Don of the IWC, I say. So,
again, so many nicknames now. Every time I've gotten what? You call me the Don, the curator of the IWC. Bishop's
yeah.
got me as Twitter co-host. The guys at Turnbuckle Time, shout out to them. They called me the Wrestletician all the time because I'm always giving them stats and everything. And I'm like,
Yes.
God, how many more? If I wish I could fit that in the bio.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice if your bio is just all these things. But yeah, dude, the Curator, the Dawn. Oh yeah, I'm all about it. We do have Chaotic Red Fox coming through saying, hey, cheers to Red Fox. We appreciate you coming through. Feel free to derail the show at any point. Anybody who's listening right now who'd like to derail, if you can get to us when we're going live, when we are live, we do go live on twitch.tv/Wrestling on the Rocks. You can turn on the notifications. You can also put the I and subscribe and the no in notifications. Stills buy me a drink and don't even have to come back. So it's always a pleasure. Let me see.
Yes.
Let's start with. I should probably do the sponsor, right? That's probably what I should do.
Of course. Can't
Let's
forget
do
the
that.
sponsor.
Can't forget. Left it on the table. The New Wave Coffee, guys. newwave.co. NOOWAVE.co to get your bag of New Wave Flow State coffee. Flow State Coffee is a specialty grade coffee with L-theanine and raw cacao for productivity and creativity, better energy, focus, and mood than a regular cup of coffee, while decreasing negative side effects like anxiety and blood pressure. And guys, this company is ran, owned, operated, all things happening by one guy. His name is Greg. He is an independent wrestler who trained in Florida, or he lives in Florida, but he trained with Lance Storm. And I thought he was a really good fit for this. He's a really nice guy. I've gotten the chance to meet him. Hang out with him a couple of times. He's really cool, and this product he makes just happens to be amazing, which is why I reached out to begin with to say, hey, do you mind if I shout it out? And he took it a step further, and now he's a part of the show in his own way. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate you guys. And if you go to newwave.co, NOOWAVE.co, put in promo code CHEERS to get an additional 10% off. That 10% works when he has other promo sales going on, which I believe he's got one going on still right now. That code will also work and get you an additional 10% off of his already ongoing sale. If you buy the subscription, it'll get you 10% off the first bag, not the preceding bags. But it's all there, man, and we really appreciate it.
Fantastic.
It's just good stuff, man. It's just good coffee. And then he posted the other day, I saw Justin Bieber shouted it out somewhere, made a review.
Wow.
I was like, well, that's cool. I was like, he'll be leaving us soon enough. You get Bieber, and I was like, clock is ticking. Let's see. Jeremy Stevens in the chat. Cheers to episode 1. Cheers to you, Jeremy. Appreciate you coming back through. Always a good time. Let's see. Well, let's just start with what's in your glass, man, and then we'll just get into some of this news. I'm just kind of like scrolling through here some of the stuff that we've been keeping a hold of. Let's start with what's in your glass. Dude, what are you drinking?
I just went with water today. It's this heat has been a bitch lately. I fucking hate this. I hate heat so much. The humidity makes it 1,000 times worse.
Gets all sticky. Yeah, I got a lot here on my table right now. Right now I'm having coffee and Terramana tequila. I also have some tea and water on deck. I've got whiskey lying around. I'm about to get caffeinated and buzzed. We're going to do this right, man. We're going to do this. Yeah, we're going to do this. So that's what's in my glass.
He'll be bouncing off the walls and slurring his speech at the same time.
It's going to be great. Did you ever watch the Drew Carey show when that was on?
Yes, actually.
Do you remember that was they had their Buzz beer, and the premise behind it was they wanted a beer coffee mix so they could stay up later and drink more.
Fantastic combination.
So good. So good.
And then they actually have coffee and beer together, which is weird. So it's like,
yeah,
way to go, Drew Carey show.
Yeah, Drew Carey nailed it, and then other people were like, "Oh, I think we can make this happen," and they did, and it's been a delightful time ever since. Innovation. Let's see. Well, let's start off with the happy news. Let me go back because there was two of them. One of them was Ronda Rousey and her husband Travis Brown announced they're going to be having a baby girl.
Congrats to them.
Yeah, just congrats. Not a baby guy, so it's good. It's what you wanted. Good. I'm sure you're happy. I'm happy for that. I'm just weird about babies, man. I'm just not a baby person. I don't know. Like, it's fine. Like, I get it. It's your baby. You love it.
Right.
Just, you spend time with it. I don't need to spend time with it. I'll spend time with your baby when he's older. I like the babies when I can talk to them and get them to go say something snotty to their parents. Those are my favorite. 100%. Let me see. And then the other one was... So there was a tweet, or it wasn't a tweet. Seth Rollins put on his Instagram story. It was a picture of Becky working out, and it said it's a nice day to finally get married. And then I was like, is he trolling though? Right? Because I mean, obviously they're engaged. They obviously have a kid. There's no doubt that they're going to be getting married at some point. But is today truly the day? Is what I wonder. I was like, oh, I wonder if he's messing with people or if this is a thing. Well, then WWE tweets out on their official account, congratulations to WWE Rollins and Becky Lynch, who are getting married today. And it says, breaking news, Seth Rollins announces he and Becky Lynch are getting married today.
I guess it is official then.
I got to imagine, right? You would imagine whoever runs the official WWE Twitter would have to say, let me just reach out to Seth and just make sure that he's not goofing.
Yeah,
right?
I wonder who actually does run their Twitter.
That's a good question. It's definitely not Ryan Satin, I'll tell you that.
Oh, God, fuck Ryan Satin sometimes. Seriously.
Dude, it's one of the saddest things I see when the Ryan Satin account and the WWE on Fox account, which is ran by Ryan Satin, obviously, clearly, and you see the two accounts talking to each other back and forth.
Oh, that's weird.
Those are the ones where I'll screenshot it and be like, this is a sad state of affairs, because we also all know you set yourself up for your own joke, for you to do your own punchline, and you did both sides of it, but not as good as Jim Gaffigan does. You know what I mean?
Friggin', he's ridiculous with that shit. He's always talking to him like he still works for them. It's like, come on.
What do you mean?
Because I thought he was only with them when they had the freaking Fox show.
No. He runs the WWE on Fox account.
Oh, does he really? Oh, shit.
Yeah. That's what makes him talking to his own account real weird. Because I know that sometimes it looks a little bit that way when I'll interact with the Wrestling on the Rocks account. I don't run the Wrestling on the Rocks account. I'm never on it.
Producer lady run that one?
Producer lady runs that one. Matter of fact, she constantly will say, hey, is there something you want me to post on that account? And I'm all like, not really. I want you to run it. Like, I won't even typically give her content to put on there. Sometimes I'll send her stuff and be like, hey, this would be a good thing to send out. Or, hey, this is a drawing. Or, hey, this is a graphic. Like, hey, this might be good. But very, very rarely. And even then, it's always going to be in her own voice. But
sometimes you put those, like, your drawings on your own account most of the time anyway.
That's true. That's true. So, I don't know. But it's just one of those things where, this as a side note, you're just goofy. So, I got to imagine whoever runs the WWE official account has to also fact check it. So, I imagine that means they're actually getting married. It was funny because I saw someone asked if there was any pictures out of them getting married. And I was like, none that I've seen. So, it just goes on to make me wonder.
Somebody will be searching through one of their Instagrams and find it.
Well, there's a part of me that goes, if he was goofing off on this one, this could be a really hard thing to backpedal on.
Right?
At this point. Being like, okay, guys, I was joking, but you know what I mean? Like, so congratulations to Seth and Becky on their marriage. If it happened.
Cheers to them.
And if it didn't, then you worked us all, and I love it. I do love getting worked. That is for sure. Let me see if there's something happening in the chat real quick. Let's see. Jeremy goes, when you said the happy news, I thought you were going towards the Happy Corbin trademarks.
Oh.
I saw that stuff. I'll be honest with you. When it comes to those rumors and dirt sheet things about who's trying to trademark what and what names are back there, and I try to ignore those as much as possible because, for one, a lot of the companies will mass trademark a bunch of stuff just to have it. But for two, it's also like, I don't find that reading any of those things has ever made anyone enjoy the product more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's why I don't, like I said, I don't go on Twitter every day. The only time I really go on is during the shows. And other than that, like, because I don't want to get spoiled from shit. I don't want to see all this stupid shit. Like, if it's gonna happen, I want to wait until it happens, and then I can like say something about it, not just go, "Oh well, they trademarked Happy Corbin." Like, what?
Yeah.
You don't know if it's true or not. Like, how do you know until we physically see Corbin coming out smiling from cheek to cheek? You don't freaking believe it.
Yeah, and who knows what you're gonna do with it, even if they do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. What if he starts selling a product that's called Happy Corbin? I don't know. So, I mean, because we'll talk about that too. There's this bit in the back on SmackDown, and I couldn't tell what he was saying because the Boog stuff was just so loud that it made the audio mixing difficult to listen to. So I'm not sure what he said, but he said a line that makes me wonder. But we'll see. Let me see. Other news. Anything else that you wanted to mention? It's a picture of Jungle Boy and Anna Jay kissing. And I thought, okay.
The people on Twitter for that are ridiculous. That's all I have to say. There's people out there blocking both of them because of that shit. And I don't fucking understand people anymore.
I love that stuff. Because I love when wrestling fans out themselves as not actually a fan or supporter.
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean? Because that's petty stuff.
Well, I found out Anna Jay and Jungle Boy are together. Let's just block them because reasons.
Yeah, because of like petty jealousy and stuff. The other thing I see people do, and it just makes them really easy to block or mute depending on my mood at the time, are the people who go like, "Oh, that person signed with WWE. Looks like I gotta block them now. They're dead to me. Used to be one of my absolute favorites. I supported them all the time, but now that they're signing with the company that I didn't want them to, I hate them." And you're like,
ridiculous.
What? Yeah, you're like, why? I mean, that was their decision to make as an adult and as somebody who's going for a dream, and maybe that was part of the dream, part of the journey they wanted to take. And you being that level of petty as to block someone because they're in the, quote, wrong company, a little weird. I mean, I'll give you, I don't watch the AEW product, so when I hear someone's over there, a lot of times it's not met with an incredible excitement just because I know I'm not going to be seeing much of it. I always think good for them. They must have made the decision that they thought was best for them, and they're getting consistent work, and that's always good.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't go and like, I didn't like block Mark Henry, but I also wasn't like, oh shit, I'm going to start watching because Mark Henry's there. I just go, oh, really good for Mark Henry. I'm glad he's doing something he wants to do. That sounds great.
I wasn't crazy about it the first time, but you know what? It's a fine thing now. Just leave it as it is.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's good. It's a positive thing. Anybody in the industry working on a high level, getting good pay is a good thing. It's positive. So I don't understand how people try and take that and turn it into a negative thing. Especially to the point of like blocking people. It's just goofy.
Yeah, really.
So, the other thing, though, happy birthday to Serena Deeb. It is Serena Deeb's birthday. Cheers to Serena. Oof. Poor Debbie on that one. Let me
That
see.
Terramana's getting them already.
Oh, it's gonna hit.
It's laying SmackDown on them a little early.
Hell yeah. Let me see. There was a wrestler who passed away, Michael Cammett. I'm not familiar with him though. Were you?
No.
Yeah, I'll just say tears in our beers to Michael Cammett. That was an unfortunate thing. Let me see. So let's talk about the bad news, the sad stuff. So there was another, I don't know, it almost comes off like a spree, you know, like just WWE let go a number of people again. Yeah. And I'll tell you, at this point, we talked about it some on the last round. On this round, there was a couple more. It wasn't as dramatic in the idea of actively used, but there are a lot of actively used. Let me go ahead and run through the list real quick. Arya Davari, Tony Nese, Fandango, Everrise, Kenneth Mobley, the writer that everyone was so adamantly happy and excited to shit on for an interview she did prior to beginning work. August Gray, Tyler Breeze, so Breezango in its entirety. The Singh brothers, now going by the Bollywood Boys. Arturo Rauz, right? Ryuz, right?
I think it's Huas. For some reason, they pronounce it
Ruas.
Huas.
Yeah, Ruas. And Marina Shafir, Kurt Stallion, and then Killian Dane. So this was another one where there's people who were like actively used. Like Everrise had just been announced the day before that their show, I believe it was called Everrise Live, was moving to YouTube and changing nights. Like they made an official announcement from the WWE account to say this is the new home for Everrise, and then literally the next day they're gone. So it's just another one of these cases of like the right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing is what it feels like. I think that, tell me what you think, but I really feel that at this point, it's fair to say that just being an actual observer of wrestling, just being a fan, even being a smart fan, I think we are past the point of observably seeing the reasons why the layoffs are happening. There's something bigger happening in the company that's scoped out far enough that we are not going to understand these on any kind of reasonable level, and anything we say otherwise, I think, is starting to look a little foolish. But you tell me if you think I'm completely off base on that.
No, that definitely sounds about right, because there's got to be some kind of like secret plan or something going on right now that they got going on back there, because why would they get rid of all these people, especially a bunch of people that were on TV, like the last string of people were people on TV. This one is, again, there was people on TV again. Like Brazongo was coming back, and Everrise was just recently on NXT, and
Killian Dane and Drake Maverick were a tag team that were constantly doing stories.
Yeah, they conked out 205 Live now with all these people. Like, I don't think they have anybody. Like, they might as well just move every one of them there to NXT, because I don't get, like, they might as well just put the show out, because there's no point in it. Like, what are you going to do with 4 people?
I don't know that there's even that many of actual 205 Live. I wonder if that's part of this, if they are putting an end to 205 Live as we know it and just combining it with NXT, sort of how it's been presented anyways. Because also, realistically, the Cruiserweight Championship, I don't think has shown up on 205 Live since it started showing up on NXT.
Yeah, no, I don't believe it has either, because even when Santos Escobar was champion, I don't think he was on 205 Live at least once.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's maybe a once or twice that we may not be aware of, but it definitely wasn't a regular thing. So, I don't know. I just think that at this point, any guessing we do is not only speculative, but almost out of the element of somebody who's just actually observing, because it doesn't seem to be relevant to what we as fans are able to see and digest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, also, if you... Let's see. Oh, Jeremy says, I saw somewhere that there's only 2 people officially on the 205 Live roster. Yeah, see, I think that's something...
Yeah, that's got to be the end of the show. There's got to be something.
Yeah, it just makes you wonder. Here. It'd be kind of neat if they replaced 205 Live with Raw Underground and made that segment into a longer form, like hour-long show that was just kind of crazy and wild like that segment was. I enjoyed it when it happened.
I wasn't crazy for Raw Underground, but if they can figure out some way to make it work, that'd be kind of interesting. I'll give it that.
It also was a cool way to showcase people we didn't get to see very often and get people time to work on different aspects of what they're doing in the ring anyways. You know what I mean? I thought it was a net positive, even though it had definitely growing pains as it was going. And I liked the fact that it was a little different than what we were normally seeing. So personally, I didn't hate it. But again, wild speculation.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood people also who didn't like Raw Underground, like yourself. I get it. It was weird. It didn't seem to go anywhere. I think also part of that was just a victim of COVID. I think that there was an outbreak or something and they shut it down and just never brought it back. Like, I think there was a bigger vision that just didn't get to play through. But ultimately, I do think ultimately, though, like, something else is happening. So much so that Samoa Joe did an interview recently. I don't remember which podcast, otherwise I would say. It might have even been that Ryan Satin interview where he mentioned that he got a phone call from John Laurinaitis saying we're going to have to cancel your contract. And then a couple hours later, he got a phone call from Triple H and everything changed. And it made me wonder if, like, like I keep saying, it sounds like people don't know what's going on, and it's just sort of all happening.
Yeah.
It's not the most. It's not the most unbelievable thing that potentially they're in a morning meeting and they're like, "Yep, we took care of all the layoffs," and they're like, "Well, let me see who the layoffs are," and the list comes around, and Triple H looks at the list and goes, "Are you fucking kidding?" and picks up the phone and walks out of the meeting. I mean, that's not an unbelievable concept to say that he starts calling some of these people and saying, "We got to work something out." Like, they had to let you go for whatever reason, X, Y, Z, but I've got reasons A, B, C on why I can bring you back and how we can do it. You know what I mean? And maybe that's a conversation that happens. So
It makes you wonder if Triple H is allowed to do that stuff, though. Like, is he allowed to, like, just sign people like that, or does he have to go through fucking Vince kind of shit?
I think that's a good question. I personally, for no reason other than wild speculation, because that's how wrestling journalism works anyways, I would think that he has some level of autonomy because of NXT and throughout NXT, which is why I think we would have seen Samoa Joe on NXT and not just come back on Raw due to Triple H. I could see Triple H having his own autonomy, just being like, "Hey, I can't get you onto the Vince contract. I can get you back on an NXT contract. Here's what I have in mind." You know, bada bing, bada boom.
Yep.
I do think, though, that the conversation that WWE is setting up for a sale, to me, is becoming a little more muddled and a little less consistent, just because at what level does releasing a dozen talent have anything to do with the selling of a larger corporation?
Yeah, that doesn't
You know what I
really
mean?
make any sense. Like, we're going to tank half our roster and then we're going to sell. Like, no, that doesn't make any sense there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So to me, it doesn't equate, but at the same time, in the defense of the narrative, neither you and I have ever worked to sell a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and there could be a lot more to it than we know.
Yeah.
And I don't understand contracts to begin with, so
Damn straight.
yeah. So in all fairness, it sounds like a completely complex world that I think that the random narratives of these, quote, wrestling journalists are dipping in a little deeper than they think to help push a narrative for their own biases, right? Like, it's really easy to be like, "Oh, look, here's why WWE is evil and why you should support AEW. By the way, I'll be at the AEW press conference. Support my dirt sheet." You know what I mean? And you go, "Okay, well."
And I saw that, especially like the Sean Ross Sapp stuff where he's, "Oh, you want to see what I wrote about this? You have to put everything behind a paywall, though." And it's just, fuck that nonsense.
Yeah, and again, I think ultimately, as far as those sheets go, I've never seen any of them actually increase the enjoyment of the product. I think on anybody's side of things, to be honest. So,
because all you see is people that read that shit and they believe it, and then you see these people that are like, "Well, there's no more surprises in WWE and all that stuff." Yeah, well, you wonder why there's no fucking surprises anymore, because you sit there and read the fucking dirt sheets.
Yeah, 100%. That's one of the coolest things about Kev, is the reason he's never on his Twitter is because he just doesn't go on any social media if he's not caught up on the product. He'll be 3 weeks behind and just not go to Twitter or Instagram at all. He won't even look at his family stuff. He will not look, because he is not going to allow some goof on a website getting retweeted to ruin his enjoyment of the show. And he enjoys it like he did as a kid, and that's why we like having him on here, because he watches it so openly and excitedly. I'm sure when Edge showed up on the end of SmackDown, he lost his shit. I mean, we all did. To be honest, that wasn't leaked. But I bet you Samoa Joe, I mean, he doesn't watch NXT often, but the idea of Samoa Joe going out there, he would have lost his shit because he doesn't keep up with the dirt sheets at all. He wouldn't have had any idea that there was talks that he might be coming back.
Yeah, I got fucking spoiled on that shit, and that really pissed me off.
Oh, I was mad, dude. I was mad because I was like,
that he was back, but it really pissed me off that a bunch of people had to put that out there.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, even when Edge showed up on Rumble, I think Kev was able to successfully avoid a lot of those rumors and was more surprised than others. But even at that point, I wasn't believing it at all anyways. But all that just to say that the idea of all this is to enjoy ourselves, is it not? Is that not why we watch? Because of how much we loved it?
That's the thing.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm saying that I stay away from a lot of those ones now. Let's see. Jeremy does say, it's worrying to think that some of the high-ups in the company don't even know what's going on. It really shows that there's a hierarchy around Vince, and only some people get inside the mind of Vince. I'm saying I don't think that this was a Vince call. I don't think Vince said fire Samoa Joe. I'm saying I think that there's a hierarchy that Vince can intervene, but I don't think that there's stuff happening that Vince knows about. You know, to be honest, I think that there is a section of that company doing things with complete autonomy, making decisions, and it has nothing to do with what we see and what Vince puts on TV, which is why I think you had an Aleister Black get cut while his shirt was on pre-order, while he was booked for a match the following week. You know what I mean? I think that went beyond the idea of like Vince just being in control of all those things, because Vince is in control of SmackDown too. You know? And if he was using somebody and pushing someone to just be all like, well, yeah, I guess they're gone. I mean, it happens, right? Obviously, it just happened. So, but I do think that there's something bigger there that none of us have the inside to know, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to know it and make it up based off absolutely nothing and try to get you to believe me and tell you I have these sources to up my Instagram game. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna insult you guys like that. But that's just exactly what I mean, is like to me, this brash of layoffs, the ones before, it just has gotten to the point where I no longer trust any of, and I mean, obviously I didn't trust them for a bit, but any of the speculation on why this stuff is happening and who's being released and why, I think is 100% shots in the dark based off conjecture. I'm sure some of those people have their quote sources who are within the company who are likely also making rash guesses. I don't think these decisions are being made in an open forum within the company even, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's somebody that's just plotting all this stuff out like this, and this is what we're getting right now, and it's really, and there's no way we can even guess what's going to happen at this point.
Yeah, and there's no wrestler that likes to leak information to Sean Ross Sapp who's in those meetings where those decisions are being made, because it doesn't look like Triple H is in those meetings. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like they're all talking with everybody. So that's what I mean. Any of the reports we're getting, I don't trust even a little bit. These decisions are being made behind closed doors that people who should be behind those closed doors don't seem to be aware of either. So there's just no way anything's leaking on that level. There's just not. Nick Khan is not calling Sean Ross Sapp to say, hey, just so you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just so you know, I'm about to go on a massive release spree.
Yeah. And this is why. It's just not. And even the tweet he put out, and this isn't to shit on Sean Ross Sapp. I'm sure he's a nice guy and we have some mutual friends. And what was that?
My TV.
Oh.
I didn't realize I had it up from the last time, because we had because when we during Hell in a Cell, my volume sucked. Like during, like everybody else had, when you guys had like decent volume, my volume was awful during the whole thing. Like when it was down, it's like they didn't fuck with the volume or something during the stream.
Oh, that's weird. Huh.
It was really weird.
All right. But again, I'm not trying to shit on Sean Ross Sapp. I'm sure he's a really nice guy. We have some mutual friends. He seems like a good dude. I think he believes in all the things that he says, and I do think that he has people he talks to that give him information. And I do think that he also does his best to fact check everything and be sure that what he's saying to be true is true. I do think that there is that about him as a positive, but I also don't think that his tweet saying that Nick Khan is willing to take the heat for this, and what was it? Something else about like, and the people's positions on TV shows and who they're married to was not taken into consideration, was not an official quote from Nick Khan, and it was the same exact thing that anybody could have guessed based just looking at the names in general. You had people on TV, you had people married to people who are back on TV. You could have made that assumption with or without anybody making a comment. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm saying. And at the end of the day, I think Kuro says it best: pretend you're an 8-year-old while you watch wrestling. And I think that there's a lot of value in that to a degree. Like, allow yourself to get lost. And it becomes a lot more fun, you know? And there's sometimes you can't help yourself but snicker a little bit and say, okay. But overall, we just want to enjoy it. That's why we're here. We're just here to enjoy a few drinks with our friends and talk wrestling. Let's see. Kira says, did you guys hear about the British guy who got drunk and legally changed his name to John Cena? Not only did I not hear about him, I did not see him either, so it must have been effective.
Ah, I see what he did there.
Yeah, that's good, right? I did like this, though, with those releases. August Gray did put out a tweet because he had a 205 Live match that night, and he did retweet the advertisement for it right after his release was announced and said, breaking news, tonight's 205 Live main event has just been turned into a loser leaves town match. Don't miss it. And I was like, that's good. That's funny.
Yeah, I love how he actually went along with it there. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, it just also shows that the guy's in good spirits. And that's the other thing is I think a lot of these guys there's a lot of reason to believe that these people who have been getting released are going to be just fine. I only feel so bad. I feel bad because it always sucks for people to lose their jobs or to not be able to see some of these people on TV. But on a similar note, I believe these people are talented and skilled enough to land on their feet and they'll be okay. So I don't feel like this is the end of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy and go, yeah, everybody's going to end up in AEW. No, I think there's one place that a lot of people are going to end up in, and that's Impact Wrestling. A lot of them are.
I'd like to see more people in MLW, to be honest. I'd like to see MLW become a big force.
Get Tony Neeson, like Davari in there, and even August Gray. Put them in there with the middleweights, with Myron Reed and everything.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think that I'd love it if MLW became a real big force this coming year. You know, the way that they were able to hold on, the way they have waited, them getting their Vice TV contract. It'd be nice to see a company rise up a higher level. I think it'd be great.
I've been so wanting to check them out, but every time I go to flip on the TV, it's an old episode from YouTube, and I'm just like, oh crap.
Yeah, they're not doing anything new until July. I want to say July 12th in Philadelphia is their first TV taping back, I believe.
So I will be watching them when they go on then.
Yeah, me too. That's how I feel about it.
Absolutely.
Kiro does say, yes, send them to MLW where they will eventually get picked up again by WWE. Most of MLW ended up in AEW, pal.
Yeah.
Let's see. I do want to talk about this briefly, and then we'll keep it moving. Unless there's something else you wanted to say about the layoffs.
No. That's really it.
Just cheers, and we'll see you down the road, guys. I mean, I honestly think we'll see everybody back at some point. Kenneth Mobley, I wanted to mention, the writer who got released, and the way that's been getting handled by a lot of people. She even posted recently, every morning for the last 5 days, I've been waking up to messages like this from people I've never met. And it was an email. Did you see it?
Yeah, so fucked up. Like, I get it. She said some stuff that she honestly shouldn't have said, but like, come on.
And I'll go one step further. So this email does say, name says Mr. Wrestling Fan, email address, a subject saying hi, message being, how ignorant can you be? You get hired, you work for one of the most respectable companies, and you admit to not knowing shit about the product, dumb bitch, in caps. And you're like, wow, this doesn't seem to be necessary. And I'll go one step further, like I was saying, to what you said. She said things, quote, she probably shouldn't have said. Maybe. I'm going to put the onus on that one on the wrestling fans. I'm going to say she said things not knowing how inherently gatekeeping the wrestling community is, and the vitriol that the wrestling community, the fandom, has for anybody who even comes around. They inherently will take something to a negative point by default, it seemingly. We talk about how toxic the IWC can be, and that's kind of like the heart of it. This whole story like really personifies what happens in that side of the IWC and the problem with it. This person admitted before working there, that she was unfamiliar with the product. She likely had not seen Lashley's name a lot, but hadn't started working there yet, and still had his name right. She said it was one or the other, and to be honest, I probably mispronounced his name early on too. She was learning the product, but she was also brought in for other reasons. And everyone was acting like she went in there as head creative, head writer, that she was now booking the show, that she was producing the whole thing. She was part of a large writing team for Raw. And then we want to complain that the Raw promos are shitty? You just bullied them into firing a dialogue writer, a comedy writer. We want to talk about how shitty the comedy is on Raw? How's it going to get better? I mean, they found someone who's honed their craft in comedy and writing, and we said, nope, not good enough. You know? Like, do you have to know the characters' names to be able to put together a story? I don't know. I'm just saying that I think this is a shitty thing that's going on. And the idea that I've been listening to all these different podcasts double down on, oh, yeah, she's gone and that's sad and every one of that happened. But in our defense, she shouldn't have said this. She shouldn't have done that. And this one, I'm as much as I said before that I feel like she probably shouldn't have said it on the podcast when she said it, I think I'm willing to double back on that one and say, you know what, I'm wrong. She had every right to say that. We have no right as a fandom to be that full of hate for such a simple thing.
That's because everybody looked at it as because, I feel like everyone looked at it as, well, because she's a writer and she's worked for comedy shows and all that stuff, that the rest of the writers are the same way. And that's one of the reasons why they always think Raw is failing. But it's like, can we give them a fucking chance first? They just got hired.
Yeah, they're still, and what's their point of it? So a writer's room has different levels of writing, right? So even when it comes to like writing like a sitcom, like if you look at 30 Rock, I've worked with a number of comedians in New York who have told me that, I mean, obviously it's a comedy and it's a thing, but that the concept is largely accurate, that there is a room where people are pitching ideas, people are putting together scripts, other people are just there to punch up a joke. Someone says, hey, I want this, I don't know how to make it funny. They write a joke for it. There's some people who are in there just to punch up a thing. They're not there to get the idea. They're there to tweak the dialogue. They're there to tweak the joke. They're there to like polish it, more or less. Maybe that was her role. I don't know. No one knows because we didn't get the chance to find out because we heard that she didn't know Bobby Lashley's name immediately, and we said, fuck that. She's a horrible person. She's got to go. That's what happened. And I just think it's shitty. I think that I think the problem is that Twitter forgets that we are observers, that we watch the product. We're not part of the product. We are not in the corporate sphere. We don't have a vested interest in all the things in the back on that level. Somebody who does, no one in any company wants to be the person to hire someone that fails. Everyone wants to be the person who hires the person that makes a difference. Yes. So somebody hired her thinking she could make a positive difference because then they'd be the cool person who brought that person in. Yes. And we act like they brought them in hoping that they would fail. And I just don't believe that for 1 second. And I think that they had more information than we have. They knew her better than we know her. And we responded as though it was our decision and it was our company and that we are allowed to make that decision for somebody. And I just don't think that that's right. And I don't think it's fair. And I think it's ugly, to be quite honest.
No, and the fucking messages that she gets from people makes it even fucking 12 times worse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not right. You should not be fucking attacking her because of this shit.
Yeah. No, and I think that we had no right as a community to attack her for saying the things she said. Because you know what? No other community does that. And I've heard podcasts speculate that, if Marvel brought in a writer and someone said, I don't know who Iron Man's name is, but I bet he's made of robot, that there would be an outrage. But the fact of the matter is there's not. Because the fact of the matter is that shit happens all the fucking time in entertainment and in comic books. Especially in comic books. I used to go to the Alternative Press Expo. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't.
It is a comic book convention for people who really don't know how to make comic books, but they're giving it a fucking go. to put it simply. You know, but I mean, there are bigger names there. Like when I was there, the creator for Invader Zim was there, and Scott Morris, who eventually got picked up by Pixar, was there. But it was an independent wrestling an independent comic book convention. And one of the reasons I went the first time was because a friend of mine had gotten a table and a booth and was selling little comics. He just wanted to try and make his own comics. He really didn't know what he was doing. He liked comics, but he had no experience writing. He had no experience publishing, but he figured he could draw and thought he'd make something happen, and he did some cool stuff with it. But it was a very accepting community of, oh, you're getting started, let's network. You're going to love this or that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know it's a smaller level, but at the same time, that shit just doesn't happen in other communities where they say, oh, you don't know everything about this? You haven't been watching forever? Then fuck you. You're gone.
Yeah.
So I think that her biggest issue, she didn't understand how terrible wrestling fans can be.
Well, she found out, and that's not right either.
That's what I mean, dude. It sucks. And we're going to talk about it when we get to Raw, which I'm sure will be coming up pretty shortly here. The absolute need for potential writers. Did you see that clip of that dude on that like 40-foot ladder jumping down on the guys on the outside that was going around?
Oh yeah, and the guy's like, jump!
Yeah. And then he jumps and you just hear this gnarly thud and the crowd goes quiet.
Yeah, it's absolutely nothing.
Apparently the guy got a broken hip, dude.
Oh shit.
How fucking crazy is that?
Damn. You can tell by how the way he was standing on there, he was not comfortable up there.
Nope. He was wobbling. He was wiggling. He was like, ugh. Everyone down there was like trying to figure it out. And like, as I'm watching it, I didn't even know what was happening. As I'm watching, I'm sitting with the producer and she's like, oh, I've already seen this. And I was like, everyone in this clip looks like an absolute idiot right now. And I was like, the people on the floor look dumb. They look like just schmoes. It's like the guy on the ladder looks like he doesn't even know how to climb a ladder. It's like he looks terrified. He looks dumb. He shouldn't be up there. And I was like, this is awful. Everyone looks dumb and bad in this video. And then he jumps and he lands the way he does. And I go, well, I was hoping for a success story and be like, I can't believe they pulled it off. But this was all like,
I was
no.
hoping at least they'd catch him. They didn't even fucking catch him, barely.
No. Not only did they not catch him, but they were all standing there with their arms out the whole time, literally waiting to catch him, and they still couldn't catch him because they were afraid and jumped back because he was falling from so high up. And you're like, fuck, like, you did this for a room of 20 people. It's just fucking crazy, dude. I just think that, hey, indie wrestlers, be safe, man. You're not. No one's gotten a big break from jumping off a high thing. No one. And you could say all you want. You could try to pretend Mick Foley did, but he didn't. His legacy grew.
No one should ever aspire to try to be like Mick Foley. I know Mick Foley did what he did, but my God, the stuff he did, never try to do that stuff. It's just...
Oh, yeah. And he was solidified when those things happened. He just, his legacy grew, but he was already a success. He was already signed. The Dude Love video came out after he was already doing great. Like, he was already in a program with The Undertaker. He was signed. He'd worked for every major company. When he did the Hell in a Cell thing, he was already in the corporation with Vince McMahon. Like, he was set, man. He was a top guy. And he did that for his reasons, and he grew his legacy and his legend, but no one's legacy or legend is that one high jump from that one empty room where they broke their hip. So just fucking guys, be safe, man. Really? Be safe, because I want to see you do stuff for literally ever.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I think that might be all the news I have, if I'm being honest. Let me check one more thing. Is there anything that you... Let me see.
I got nothing. Like I said, I don't delve into all this stuff like people do now.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I try to stay out of a lot of it, but there's stuff that comes up and I think could be relevant and interesting, and so I'll make a note of it.
Yeah.
let's see. I can say, probably briefly, that they definitely did get married. But I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Fantastic.
So let's see.
It's definitely congratulations.
Yeah. But I'm not seeing anything else newsworthy, so I say we just get into the shows if you're ready.
Ready.
I'll announce this because I like them. Mission Pro Wrestling. Reserve your spot today. Join a special pro wrestling seminar on July 31st. Open to men and women. Limited spots available. I think it's really interesting. It's open to men and women. I think that's great because they do traditionally do all women things. So the fact they're doing a seminar for everyone, I think is fantastic. It says email missionprowrestling@gmail.com to reserve your spots. It's $35 per attendee. It is in Southern Star Brewery in Conroe, Texas. If I remember correctly, that's very, very close to Houston, just on the outside of it. It is from 12 to 2. Must have 6 months or more of training experience. 2 participants will be selected to participate in the MPW show that night. Bring your gear. So that's cool.
Nice.
So any indie wrestlers who are listening to that, Stackhouse, if you're out there, Stackhouse, whoop, whoop. If you're out there, if you're listening, you've definitely got more than 6 months experience. It says men and women available. You can wear your Stamp Stackhouse's OK shirt. We were former sponsors of Mission Pro Wrestling. The only reason we have not continued to sponsor them is strictly financial, but we will be sponsoring them again. So if you wore a Wrestling on the Rocks shirt, they probably, just saying, Stackhouse if you're listening. Stackhouse if you're listening. All right.
How come we didn't promote merch? Just promote merch. Damn it. Look.
Yeah, we can talk about merch. We can talk about merch. Over on prowrestlingtees.com/wrestling on the rocks. We got like 5 different shirts out now. One of them being the episode 1 again shirt, which is probably my personal favorite, but I still gotta get one for myself. I think Bishop is the first person to have it. So it's pretty exclusive if you guys can get it. So
I think I still got it in my Pro Wrestling Tees in my cart. So when I can actually get it, I can get it, and I'm just immediately gonna grab it.
Yeah, also on Pro Wrestling Tees for Life, or not Pro Wrestling Tees for Life, Pro Wrestling for Life, the podcast with Sean X Pac Waltman. A shirt I designed is up there as well. I've been doing editing for them and some graphic designing. There's an AC/DC inspired Lightning Kid type shirt that is there, so you can check that one out too. But yeah, I definitely want to get the episode 1 shirt. I'm trying to see if I can maybe get a bulk order and then just sell them directly from here to everybody for a discount. Maybe. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. I've been trying to work that out.
Yeah, just got to get the episode 1 again shirt and the ironic shirt. That's it. And then I have every one of the shirts.
That's so funny. Yeah, the ironic shirt is such a good one. Kev hates it. I wear it every time I see him if I can.
Oh, come on. We got to get Kev to wear one time. Come on.
He's got one. He's got one.
He's got to wear it when you guys go on Tuesdays.
Hell yeah. Let's see. Well, you ready to talk about SmackDown?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, dude. Let's get into it. SmackDown was a perfect show and a story. Perfect. Let me see. It opened up with the backstage thing of Jimmy Uso telling Roman that his brother's not coming to SmackDown. He says he could do what his brother does, and Roman told him to prove it. And then it cuts to the Thunderdome where Bianca Belair comes out. So the idea that they're tying the Roman Reigns story throughout the entire show every week, I think is so fucking good because it makes it can't miss. You can't turn off the show. You're going to miss part of the Roman story, and it is tied throughout the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even though I see a lot of people that are like tired of it already, but come on, guys.
I'm not the least bit tired of it, and I think it's incredible and engaging.
It's got me back into Roman, and I was one of those people again that immediately was just, this guy's getting over pushed before he was tribal chief, and we'll talk about a certain somebody who's in that same boat right now on Monday.
Yeah.
But fucking this got me back into Roman, just everything. It's just been fucking top notch, just absolutely just picture perfect everything.
It's been so good. And I think people who are saying they're tired of it are people who are just, they're not invested in the story to begin with. They just, they want to hate it because they want to hate it. I bet you most of them really like other promotions. I'll say this about the way that SmackDown's doing this is better than even Raw does it, because Raw does not do a great job of it. And I'll say that one of the things I noticed early on with AEW that I've said I think could become an issue is that all of their segments are incredibly segmented to where they can be chopped up into YouTube segments and become individual things where there is no need to watch the show from beginning to end to get a full story. Everything is so segmented, which I was like, might be cool, might be good because they do have a YouTube audience. But when I see shows like this where they're intertwining the story of Roman throughout it with getting little bits and pieces as you go, you start going, oh yeah, this is why you can't turn off the show, because there's good stuff happening, but the thing that's got you locked in is happening throughout. It used to be the Vince McMahon and Stone Cold stuff. They used to do the same thing.
Yes.
I don't know why they don't do it on Raw, and I wonder if AEW just doesn't feel like they have that one story that they can do throughout the whole show every week that'll keep people. I wonder if they think everything is so standalone and isolated. And I'm not saying it's a negative necessarily, but I am saying that, like, let's say you watch SmackDown just because you like Carmella. Once you get through the end of the Carmella match, you're going to turn off the show. Unless you're also somehow connected to the Roman thing, then you're watching the whole show because you don't know when the next Roman thing's going to happen. You don't want to miss it. Where, let's say you watch AEW for the Young Bucks. Well, once the Young Bucks go out, you know you can turn it off because they're not going to come back again. You know what I mean? And they don't have anything else that goes throughout. You just watch till the thing is that you want. Or, you know, and if you like it all, you like it all and you watch it all, right? There's nothing wrong with that either.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, when you think about viewing habits, you know?
Yeah.
I just love that this stuff's all intertwined this way. But we ended up with Bianca Belair coming out. She cut a promo. Honestly, tell me what you think of it. Just let me know what you think of it. What do you think of the Bianca Belair promo that opened the show, interrupted by Seth Rollins, and then Bayley comes out? What do you think of Bianca's part?
I honestly didn't enjoy Bianca's part. I don't know what's going on with Bianca. I was so interested when she won the title off of Sasha, but now it just feels like, I don't know, maybe they did kind of jump the gun on her too soon.
I feel like there's part of that I'm getting where it seems a little bit like maybe a little too much too soon, but I don't think she's doing poorly. I think she's doing good. I think that her promos are getting better as she goes. I think she's sounding authentic. I think it's good. I don't think it's great. It didn't give me the feeling that I got when Bayley was champion and she cut promos that were getting better and better. You go, yeah, this is the top of the card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't think she's doing bad by any means. I do think that, as much as I'm not real big on the job training, we're seeing a lot of it nowadays because they want young people being the face, new blood, right?
Yeah.
I do think that there's a certain level of, they're going to surround them with the right people to get where you're going. I mean, and think about it this way. She shared a promo segment with Seth Rollins and Bayley.
Yes.
How better taken care of could she have been? You know?
It's true.
Sort of like when Cesaro was getting ready for his Roman match. Who cut all of Cesaro's promos? Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan. And Paul Heyman.
Yes.
Cush job, man. Like, hey, Cesaro, we're going to need a few promos to get your match going. He's like, oh, what should I say? Nothing. Hang out. We're going to have Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, and Paul Heyman talk about you for a bit. And then that's how we're going to do it. He goes, oh, I can do that. Not trying to knock on Cesaro. I actually think his promos the last number of times we've heard him have been pretty solid. But
yeah,
I do get that feeling with Bianca. I think it's a little bit like, okay, I don't think she can hang by her own. I think she does need someone to come. I don't think you're going to get that Bianca monologue like Bayley did on that chair with the spotlight. You know what I mean? I don't think we're going to get there relatively soon. I think it's going to take some time, but I do think she's doing better and better each time. And I thought this was a solid promo by her. And I thought that for me personally, I got really excited with the Seth and Bayley stuff. It was cracking me up.
Those two together. My God.
They've been so
I said
good
it. I said
together.
it on Friday. I'm so glad they matched.
Yeah, that was funny. And then I really liked that Seth was like, "Hey, high five, congratulations on your win." She goes, "Why are you trying to high five me?" And he goes, "Well, because when Bailey comes out here and knocks you on the ground, you won't be able to high five me anymore. So get it while you can."
I give Seth Rollins a lot of shit, but sometimes he's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah, and that was so good too, because that was also like what a positive, nice way to be a dick. You know what I mean? What a backhanded compliment. Congratulations, I can't wait to high five you. Why are you trying to high five me? I'm not your partner. Well, because my partner's going to beat the shit out of you, but I still wanted to celebrate with you. I still want, you know what I mean? Like, you did good. I'm not going to deny that.
Generous dick right now.
Yeah. I was like, so good. But Bailey comes out, and Bailey cut a really good promo too. And then Cesaro, the four of them had a match. They had a match. Cesaro came out. They did a little run-in kind of a deal. I really liked it as they're getting ready for the commercial break that they did that spot where Bianca and Cesaro did that kind of like tandem maneuver together so she could like run up and do that running kick to Bailey.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. It was great, and I liked the match too. Anything you want to say about that spot or the match itself, Cesaro and Bianca versus Seth Rollins and Bailey?
No, match was fun. Definitely fun for what it was. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah, the right people won.
I love how people pointed out like when Rollins and Bailey were going up the ramp and they were celebrating, and then Rollins like pulled her hair. I don't know what the hell happened there. That was so funny.
Yeah, he just like messed up her hair worse and like teased it almost like with that squish kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think part of it, to be honest, is I think that he also recognizes how awesome it is when her hair looks completely crazy. She looks like a more insane person, and her hair's been getting more and more wild. So I think he saw that and thought, we could make this crazier looking. You could look like an absolute lunatic. You know what I mean?
Someone called it the brother sister dynamic with the two of them, and I'm like, I could see it.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's absolutely got to be a thing. I mean, they talk about the four horsewomen of NXT. You know, Sasha, Bailey, Bianca, or not Bianca. Oh my God, Sasha, Bailey, Becky, and Charlotte. They were all incredibly close friends and remain to be, so far as I can tell and as far as I know, are still all mostly really close. I mean, when Becky was announcing all this stuff about her being pregnant, Sasha and Bailey couldn't stop talking about how they were going to be aunts. You know, all their press podcasts and interviews and stuff. They were talking about Becky and how they're excited to be an aunt and stuff. Like, I'm sure they're all very close.
I'm pretty sure.
So yeah, that brother-sister dynamic I think is great.
Yes.
But I loved it. It was a lot of fun and surprisingly good match, because that's not to knock on anybody in here, because you have four of the best in there. And Bianca's doing better. Although I do think that there's issues. I think that she slows down when she shouldn't and speeds up when she shouldn't. And then I think that it comes off a little clunky at times. But overall, she is still very athletic and very good. She's just in there with some of the best, so it kind of almost highlights those things. You know what I mean? And for my money, the intergender matches that we get and the mixed tag matches that we do get, I think also they always come off a little clunky anyways, just because of the way that the rules are and stuff. So the idea that they all made it work, the way that they made it work, they all interacted just enough. I thought it was done great. I thought it was excellent.
I only had one thing about it though that kind of got me a little bit, was as we know, of course, Bailey got the pin, got the win for them. My thing is, I hope they don't overdo this, because how long can Bianca and Bailey actually go to where people are going to be like, till people just get uninvested in it?
I don't know. Sasha and Bailey have been going on for like 6 years now. People are still invested.
That's because they have gaps between each other. They're not like constant.
They had a gap Bailey and Bianca?
This so far has been like a line of just the same thing right now.
There was
and
a
it's
gap for
kind of,
Sasha.
That's the thing that's the thing that gets me a little antsy about it. Like, don't overdo it too much, or else you're going to get people to not be interested in it.
I think there's a possibility for that. I also think that if you're trying to get, I mean, think about when Drew McIntyre first won the world title. Who were all of his feuds against in all his first matches? It was all like Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton over and over again. He had the one with the Big Show. So what?
Andrade when he was there, Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler was a big one. It was a lot of, hey, we need you to be the top guy, but we also recognize you're not on the level of all the top guys we've ever had. So they put him in there with a bunch of veterans who can get them to that level. Realistically, who's ever been on that level outside of Sasha and Bailey for the women's division that she could work with? You know what I mean? Like, you could say Charlotte, and I would say that I get the argument. However, I don't see Charlotte making a ton of stars. I see Charlotte making sure she looks great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think it's part of the reason why Rhea's floundering is because she's in a program with Charlotte. And I think it's part of the reason that Bianca's thriving right now is because she's in a program with Sasha and Bailey. You have certain people who can just get people to the next place. I think, and that as much as I've shit on Charlotte in the past, I do think that there's something to Charlotte. I do think she is better than average. I also think she's probably more of the keep up kid, kind of throw you into the deep end of the swimming pool type. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I do think that Bailey and Sasha are a training wheels type. We are going to teach you and take you there. And I think that people learn different ways, right?
Oh, definitely. Bailey and Sasha always seem like they're trying to like help the talent. Charlotte, on the other hand, always feels like she's trying to keep everybody under her, and it's just.
I mean, yeah. I'll be honest. I do agree with that. I'm trying to be nice. Let me see. Just checking over here. Micah is in the chat on YouTube. Cheers to Micah. Sorry if I missed this a little bit earlier. It says, it's easier to throw rocks at glass houses than build one yourself. People like to complain, but we could never write a 3-hour show a week. I think he's talking about the writers from before.
I think so.
Potentially. I apologize for missing that earlier. But yeah, 100%. It's really easy to shit on this stuff, but this stuff is also incredibly difficult to do. And hey, maybe more writers the better. But I don't know, I guess when you're short one. But yeah, I do think that, I mean, just look at Bailey's title run to begin with. I had someone say, why do you think that Bailey's so good? I said, because every single contender had a shot. And everyone on that roster was a contender at one point or another. By the time Bailey lost the title, the SmackDown Women's Division was a division of potential champions. Versus when Charlotte wins the title, the conversation becomes, well, who's even good enough to try? You're like, well, that's not, I don't think that's best for everyone to be all like, oh yeah, nobody's good. Versus saying, oh yeah, everybody's that good, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, Christ, Bailey put Tamina over, and a lot of people are not crazy for Tamina, but she made Tamina look fucking great.
Yeah, she did. Up until Tamina was teaming with Natalya, I was constantly listing that Money in the Bank match was, I think, her best match.
I agree with that.
So, well, let's see. Let's keep it moving. I think people know that I'm on Team Bailey for sure. But I do agree with you. I do wonder how much longer is the Bailey Bianca thing going to go, and how well are they going to put it together. And I'll be honest, I think they're doing a good job with it. I do think trading victories between Bianca and Bailey brings Bianca up to Bailey's level, and Bailey has been talked about as being likely the best woman in the business right now. I mean, I think that's a hard argument to dismiss. And I know a lot of people have their favorites and their preferences, and I think this person's better for that, or this person's got more titles or not. I've heard a lot of people say that they believe that Bailey may be the absolute best woman in the business right now. And I won't argue that for a second, because I've been saying that. Been done saying that. But
Again, she's put herself over all the other 3 horsewomen at this point, honestly, to me.
To me, yeah, I agree with that. And I think that there's something to be said for the idea of, yeah, you can have someone steamroll through Ultimate Warrior style, I suppose, and just beat everyone, and then that's that, or like a Goldberg. But that's a really dicey game. Like with Goldberg, his whole thing was that he had to steamroll through everybody quickly, and then once he didn't, a lot of that Goldberg mystique died away. And it became really difficult to just get behind him once the Who's Next streak ended. It was like, oh, okay, I guess that's that. I think that the best thing for Goldberg was, I mean, you know, it is what it is, but the time away he spent allowed people to nostalgically remember and talk about this streak. So when he came back, we'd forgotten about all the years after the streak where no one gave a shit.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I don't think that the streak level or the style of booking is necessarily the best. I do think that as much as people want to complain about it, 50-50 booking does provide an even playing field amongst 2 people who you're trying to establish as being on equal footing. For good or bad. That's what it does.
Like you told me, it's 50-50 booking isn't always bad, so.
It can be bad. It definitely can be, but I don't think it always is. I don't think it by default has to be bad.
Yeah.
But there can get to a point where it gets frustrating of like, I don't know what we're saying anymore. Because it's well established these 2 people are equal, and now we're just really driving the nail in that these 2 people are on the same playing field, and I don't know who I'm behind anymore. You know what I mean? It can create a fuzziness in there where you're like, okay, they're both equally good and they both win and lose. I don't know who to not like. But I mean, I guess out of that comes the bar, so you know, it can come around.
Yes.
Rick Boogs introduced Shinsuke Nakamura, crowned him the new king of SmackDown. Backstage, Caleb Braxton was interviewing Baron Corbin, who said, what's the point of any of this without his crown? I swear it sounded to me like he said a line somewhere along that sounded kind of like he said something like, I lost my life savings, and he was just in that tank top. He wasn't in a suit with a fancy watch, and he was kind of like let the stubble grow. And I was like, wait, is he saying he lost his money as well as the crown?
You telling me that he pulled a Shawn Michaels? He lost his smile?
He lost his smile. But at the same time, I listened to it several times, and I could not tell what he was saying because the Boog stuff was so loud and mixed to a point where all you hear is Boog screaming and the electric guitar. And it, to me, buried the story because I don't know what Baron said or what he's talking about, and that's your story. Yes, there's a celebration of Shinsuke becoming king of SmackDown, but that's the moment. When we try to go to the story, I need to know what the story is and hear it, and that was so loud that we missed the story entirely.
Yeah.
So that bothered me.
Yeah, that whole segment to me just felt kind of pointless. Like, I didn't get it. It just was like, it just felt like a time filler.
Right? And it dragged on. And I think the reason it felt like it was dragging in time filler was because we couldn't properly hear Corbin. So the story got lost in the noise. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
So that sucks. It sucks. I also think Baron's fantastic. What do you think of Boogs at this point?
I mean, he still just feels like just Shinsuke's personal own entrance. That's all it is. There's not really anything to Boogs, really. He's just Nakamura's entrance.
That's true. He is losing his character in there. I do think, as much as I like it for the moment, and I do think that there's like kind of a cool, fun factor with that high energy, I also feel like he's going too far with it. Like,
I mean, it's getting Pat McAfee to always do what he does all the time, but that's about it. And that's what it makes me feel like that's all it is for, is just to get Pat McAfee to get some kind of reaction for people to get a chuckle out.
Yeah, but it's getting a little bit of a tired joke. It's like when you tell that kid in class, he says the one joke that gets the class to laugh, and then he'll say the joke for the rest of the day, and everyone by the end of it is all like, okay, dude, yeah, it was funny. And then that kid thinks he's funny and then tells that joke for a month and telling people he's a funny kid, and it's just like, no, you said a good joke one time. That's not to say these people are bad and that they're like, I mean, Pat McAfee is funny. Rick Boogs is good, but they're starting to repeat themselves a lot. And it's getting to the point where it's all like, okay, saying a funny thing doesn't make you funny necessarily. You have to say other funny things as well. It's getting repetitive. Their overexcitement and loudness. I think all they need to do is tweak it a little bit. I think you can still be loud and goofy and obnoxious, and I think Pat McAfee does a little something to tweak it each time. Like this time he was like drinking the waters like Stone Cold's beers, and that was kind of fun. And I do think that McAfee's kind of like laid out a little bit here and there, so he's not just screaming Boogs over and over again, which I think is good and smart too. But like I said, it's feeling a little repetitive without tweaks at the same time, and so it's like that's why it felt like it dragged on. Because at first you're like, okay, yeah, here's Boogs doing his thing. Haha, he did the thing that he did last time. You know, he's playing the hits, and then you go, oh, no new hits this time, no new songs, huh? You know. So I don't know.
Yeah, the way they kept cutting to Bear, the way they kept like cutting to the back, and then they cut to the ring, and then it just stayed on the ring for the longest time of just Shinsuke and Boogs and the whole. And I was like, all right, is this over yet? Because it just felt like it was just going and going and going.
Yeah. I think the problem was that it was too noisy, so you couldn't hear Corbin move the story forward. I think that's what it was trying to do.
Yeah.
And I think that they flubbed it.
I wasn't a Corbin fan to begin with, but like I wasn't like the biggest Corbin fan. Like I have my moments where I like him. Like he has his moments for me. And I wanted to hear what the fuck he was gonna say, but it got drowned out by fucking guitar and the piped in fucking crowd. I don't know what it is about that piped in crowd on SmackDown, but they're always louder on SmackDown than they are on fucking Raw. And it annoys the hell out of me because I can't hear what Roman says half the time. I can't hear what anybody says because it gets fucking drowned out by a crowd noise that's turned up to the max and you can't hear shit.
Yeah, it's weird. You have the ability to mix it more than ever, and you're doing a poor job mixing it more than ever. It's a little weird for sure. Yeah, no, I agree. Let's see, Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce. Oh yeah, they were air guitaring. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But Seth Rollins shows up and said no one's more deserving an opportunity at Roman than him, which I thought was real fucking interesting. Because we've talked about it for a couple weeks now, I believe starting episode 1, about how good Rollins has been, especially when he has his interactions with Roman and they appear to be equals, and the history of them in general already speaks volumes. But he's been wrapped up in the Cesaro thing and a sort of mid-card storyline, which again is not a knock on the mid-card. It's literally just a place in the show, and he is a high-level performer. Like that's what's so cool about the mid-card on SmackDown is they're all potential world champions. But it was really cool for him to actually just say flat out, I want Roman next.
It was interesting, but again, it leaves one fucking thing for people. Like, this is for the people that delve into the root for faces, they boo heels thing. Who's the freaking face in this situation? Because you got two heels.
I think that comes out from whenever they talk. I think once they talk, you figure out whose side you believe in, you know? And I think I think people could get behind Seth. I really do. As much as we all like Roman, he's a dick. And he's done a really good job of saying shitty things to people. And I could see him saying a real shitty thing to Seth to just make you go, oh, I hope Seth kicks you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Roman should, at this point, he doesn't need a face turn. It needs, if Rollins is good, Rollins needs to be the face if this happens ever.
I could see that. I wonder this, as long as we're on the subject of Roman and face. Klump hit me up the other day and asked me if I thought that once the crowds were showing up, if they would turn Roman babyface. I don't know. Obviously, none of us know. but I could see it happening just because he's so beloved right now by the audience. But I do think we're in a different era of wrestling fan, because we do have wrestling fans who do all think they're part of the show, and they do all think they know better, and they do all play their parts. I don't think you have to look any further than MJF. MJF is the most cookie cutter heel that you can get. He doesn't say anything personal to anybody. He does the same insults everyone's ever said since grade school. He basically has a Don Rickles insult book to pull his street jokes out of. But people talk about how good he is as a heel because he's good on the mic. He seems natural. He seems like he's talking off the cuff even when he's in clearly scripted things.
Yeah.
The crowd loves him. So much so that when his music plays, they all cheer him until he comes out and says something to remind them that they're supposed to boo. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Which is all fine. I'm not knocking that necessarily. I'm just saying that I don't buy into this narrative that MJF is the greatest heel ever because he's actually hated and that's why everybody loves him, because that's not how that works.
Yeah.
I do think that if anyone can pull it off as well, it's Roman. He could get cheered on the way out and then say something to make you just go, oh, what an asshole thing to say. You know?
Yeah, the WrestleMania crowd to me was the deciding factor was a start for the deciding factor on that, because they booed when Roman came out.
Yeah, that's true.
So that immediately gives me they're just gonna boo him. So even if he's heel, they're gonna boo him, and now you need a strong baby face over him, and Rollins might be that guy.
That could be. I do think WrestleMania was half piped in and half audience. I do think that that's true. So I think Survivor Series, SummerSlam is going to be a huge indication because that's going to be a full crowd. I think Money in the Bank's going to have a full crowd, right?
I thought Money in the Bank was going to be their first one with like full crowd again.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I think Money in the Bank might tell us as well.
Yeah, Money in the Bank could give us the sign right there.
Yeah. But, let's see. As we keep going, Big E against Apollo for the chance of the Money in the Bank match. Big E does win. Commander Aziz gets thrown into the back because he tries to interfere. The ref sees him and boots him from the show, or boots him from the ringside. And then Big E gets the big ending and gets the win. Kyler Braxton tells Sami Zayn that he has to battle Kevin Owens next week in Money in the Bank qualifier. And Zayn cut an amazing promo. Just fucking so good. And then Adam Pearce told Zayn that his match is going to be a last man standing match right after that. So, what do you think about all this? The Apollo and Big E match? I loved it.
I liked the match. I say, right winner, wrong opponent. IC champion should not have been pinned. Should have been somebody else.
I think they're trying to. Yeah, but I do think that being a champion shouldn't mean that you're just an undefeated monster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do think that there's a little something goofy about, oh, I'm the champion, therefore I win every match ever. I think by having a champion lose a match from time to time, but holding on to the title, just shows that they are conniving, or that maybe they're more invested when it matters. Maybe that it's a reason to boo them even more, especially a heel, because you're like, look, they don't even care. They allowed themselves to lose the other match, or they walked out. Like, I love when they do stuff like that. Walked out, get counted out, go, I don't even care, go ahead, take the count out victory, go to Money in the Bank, I don't need it. Like, stuff like that would have been cool if Apollo just walked away. But when you think of, like, great champions, doesn't Ric Flair come to mind?
Yeah.
I mean, he lost a lot. He just didn't lose when the title was on the line.
It's true.
So, I could see it both ways, especially because the fact that it was Big E and not just some random person, I think makes a difference as well.
Yeah, I'm happy as hell though. Big E's in there.
I'm excited about that, except I thought I've heard Big E say before he doesn't like to do ladder matches because he doesn't actually like to climb up on ladders. So I'm kind of like, ooh, see what he does here. Liv Morgan beat Carmella. I like the Carmella storyline going on here. And honestly, the promo that Liv and Carmella both cut going into the match, I thought was fantastic. So Sonya says that Carmella's going to be in the match or in Money in the Bank. And she goes, yep. And then Liv goes, hold on, wait a second. And goes out there and starts talking shit. The way that Carmella was like laughing in her face and be like, oh, honey. Like, it was just obnoxious and shitty. And I thought that both of them did awesome promo work there. What did you think of all of it?
I mean, Liv was pretty damn solid out there. Like, I'll give her that.
I think it's her best promo to date.
She really is really good. Like, I have mixed bag feelings of Carmella. This most beautiful woman in WWE thing kind of annoys me because it feels like, again, another fucking reason of backtracking the Revolution shit, where it's just we're focusing on her looks again, not her wrestling ability. But then when she gets in the ring, she wrestles like a damn champ, and that's like, okay, well, how am I supposed to take this now?
I mean, that's what made her and Sasha compelling, was that Carmella was saying, Sasha, the reason you never liked me is because you've always had to work your whole life towards this, and I'm just already this good and don't even have to think about it. Like, it works on that level too, where it's like she worries more about her looks than she does her wrestling, because she's also naturally very good at wrestling, is the story there, you know? I also think
she's got that sleeper pick thing where you think she's just a pretty face, but she can really go when she has to.
Yeah. I think what's really fun about the Carmella thing to me is that it comes off super obnoxious. It's like you said, at the end of the match when she loses, she tells Greg Hamilton to just say that, or that wasn't even Greg Hamilton.
No, that was Greg Hamilton.
No, I think it was Mike Rowe in this one.
No, I thought Mike Rome is Raw's ring announcer.
I guess we'd have to look, because I thought also Greg Hamilton was taking some time off. I thought something.
Oh, is he? Oh shit! I didn't know that.
I think something happened to somebody in one of his families. I thought he tweeted about it or something, but I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm completely misreading that. But I thought it was Mike Rowe. I just don't want to say the wrong name, and I apologize. But whoever the ring announcer was on this one, when he says, still the most beautiful woman, and then she's like celebrating when she clearly lost, I think it's such a shitty thing to do that it's like fucking funny, because it's like you're more concerned about being. Yeah, it's a dick move. You're easy to boo. You don't even care that you lost. You just care that you're pretty.
Yeah. Good way to look at it.
I also think that it opens up the idea for a lot of potential stories we talked about before when Eva Marie hadn't yet debuted. And I do think the Eva Marie story still leads towards this in general. You could end up with a Divas style faction of a series of women who view themselves like divas, or that looks are important more so than wrestling. And then you have all the wrestling women like the Sashas and Baileys on the other side saying, you are not going to push us back after everything we've been through and done this for. You know what I mean? Like, you can have an Eva Marie team up with a Carmella, or even a Frankie Monet, talking about being bougie and all that, like, you can kind of make the argument that they're kind of building a series of heels who are callbacks, and that's what makes them a heel, is they're kind of a callback to an older era of when that mattered, like it did.
I mean, I'm not a fan of fucking Eva Marie. Like, I'm not invested in anything she does. Like, if you put her in this freaking faction warfare thing, I honestly could care less.
Oh, we're going to get there. But I do think that when I see Carmella doing this and I see Frankie Monet doing the bougie thing, it does make me think that we have a series of heels who seem to be heels largely based off the idea that they're more concerned about their looks and stuff, but they're also just happen to be very good at wrestling.
Yeah.
So I think that that's kind of it's interesting, if nothing else. And I'm curious to see where it all ends up.
Could be a nice twist. I'll give it that.
Could be fun, especially for like a Survivor Series. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They ain't doing brand warfare.
Man, I'm so tired of the brand warfare for Survivor Series. Just because it seems like such a stall. Every single time it's all like, okay, so there's no stories happening now for the next month because we're just going to be like, all right, Raw, let's build a team. It's so
the only one to me that was really interesting was the one with NXT, and that was it. Even though that was brand warfare, I thought it was fun.
I didn't like it because it made NXT look like they're all better than everybody on the main rosters, and it came off like a giant commercial for NXT, which I could appreciate because they were brand new to USA, but on the same token, they're developmental. And if they weren't developmental, then they would come up to the main roster and become champions early. And Bianca's the only one who did that, and none of the people who won at Survivor Series did. That's my issue with it. But for people who love NXT, it's pretty cool, right? I get that. I get it. So, all right. Well, let's see. Only a couple more things happened in the show. Okay. Although I do want to just say one more time, Liv Morgan did exceptionally better here than she's done in the past, and I'm not trying to say that as some sort of weird dig or something. She's just getting better and better each time, and it's obvious and it's clear, and I love that.
Yes.
Her finish here, you know where she does that kind of sitting springboard into like this reverse DDT stunner looking thing?
Yeah, her like springboard seated flatliner thing, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. That's really difficult to make it look natural or to make sense of it. And there's sometimes she gets it to work and it's really convoluted. And the last match she had with Carmella had to just stand there for a second being like, I don't know, I guess just do it is what it kind of looked like. This one, it looked perfect. She did it and it looked like a surprise and it came out of nowhere. And I was like, holy shit, she got it. Like, it was awesome.
Yeah, I like when she like can get it to where like people are kind of like out of it and they're starting to come up and they turn around and they lean and all of a sudden she's just air, grab, down, done. And I'd be like, okay.
I like that one. This one, she had like Irish whipped Carmella, but ran with her as soon as she pushed her. So they both hit the ropes in opposite directions at the same time. And I was like, oh shit. Like,
nice. I must have missed that one completely. All I seen was her like planter and I went, oh, she hit it. And I was like, cool. And then I was like, I must have missed the Irish whip. Damn.
Was it an Irish whip or did Carmella just run towards the ropes? It was one of those things where Carmella was hitting the ropes and Liv ran to hit the ropes facing the opposite direction at the same time, and it just landed perfect.
Nice.
And Liv's promo here was the best promo I think she's done so far. She sounded so good. I loved the slap she did on Carmella. Their back and forth here was just fucking spot on. I thought it was awesome. Just awesome. And I thought
I thought Liv got in the match, though.
She did get in the match.
How come Raw didn't fucking show her?
No, she
Raw
didn't
didn't
get in.
show her on the women.
She didn't get in Money in the Bank. She beat Carmella because Carmella was just given a shot at Money in the Bank. So I think now...
And I thought Sonya said that if she beat Carmella, she was in.
She would consider her.
Oh, damn it. Fuck
so
you.
Now there's more story with there's more story with Liv. That's a good thing.
Damn it.
We're going to get more Liv.
Damn it. I wanted her in so bad. I wanted it to just be like, she's in. I'd be like, yes, let's go.
I do think her in a ladder match could be fucking crazy. Let's see. Let's wrap up SmackDown. Jimmy Uso versus Dolph Ziggler. I just thought was, what could it be other than a fantastic fucking match? The zigzag into the steel steps, the finisher being just a single super kick. Fucking
God,
amazing. And then Roman comes out and cuts his promo. Anything you want to say about this match?
Nope, freaking absolutely excellent. And I think I like that they didn't have to resort to, because it seems like Jimmy's just now falling in line, and I like how we didn't have to just get a repeat of what happened with Jay. Honestly, I like that we didn't do it. I like how they actually came up with a different way to just kind of get him to go, you know what, maybe I am fucking up here, maybe I'm the fuck up right here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's more to it than that. Anything about the match you wanted to say? That zigzag into the steps, I was like, fuck. When that happened, I thought it was...
No, Jimmy and freaking Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler to me is still just, he'll always be amazing. It's just, he just loses so much. It's so hard to care with him. It just sucks because he's so fucking good.
Ziggler?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I just have a soft spot for him, but every time I see him, I get happy. I'm so like, fuck yeah. Because,
I
like you said,
I'm a big fan of Dolph Ziggler. I just think it sucks because he always fucking loses. He loses so much.
But so did Mr. Perfect. I think Dolph Ziggler is the Mr. Perfect of our era because every time he comes out, all people say after the match is, God, Ziggler is so fucking good. But like you said, he loses all the time. But people are talking about Ziggler in that loss. And I think that's a huge deal. You know what I mean?
That's a hell of a comparison. That's awesome.
I think when people look back, they're going to show clips of Dolph Ziggler doing stuff all the time. He's going to go down as one of those guys who's going to be all like, oh, who? Well, I mean, he won the world title once, but like he didn't win the WWE title. He's going to be one of those dudes who's like, oh, who never did this but should have. Ziggler's always going to be someone who gets brought up, I think. And he'll end up in the Hall of Fame, and no one's going to question why, but when they go through their accolades, they're going to go, yeah, I guess he never really got too far out of the mid-card, huh? You know what I mean? Because he's a tag and IC guy primarily, but he's just so fucking good.
Yeah.
He's so good that when Drew McIntyre was given the title, his first rivalry was against Ziggler. When Kofi first won the title, his first rivalry was against Ziggler. Ziggler makes world champions. When a new guy's got a title, they go through Ziggler because Ziggler can teach them what they need to know to stay on top in a lot of ways.
Big ups to Dolph Ziggler for that, then.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. So let's talk real quick. Roman Reigns did a promo at the end with Paul Heyman saying that there's no one left for Roman Reigns. Let me see.
They name drop Strowman.
Did he say Strowman? What did he say?
Heyman did. He was like, the tribal chief's going to enlighten you, and then he said something about Strowman. He said Strowman got eliminated. He was like, and I was like, wow, he mentioned Strowman on TV. I'm like, fuck, that's something.
That's funny. But yeah, they say that there's no one left, that he's defeated everybody, that everyone's just a blip on his radar kind of a deal. Who's next? Who could he even be? And you can just imagine Seth Rollins in the back saying, it's going to be me. And then you hear, you think you know me. Edge comes out looking like a fucking mountain man. Edge comes out. Spear.
Producer lady's fucking tweet. That was great.
Oh, yeah. He's so good. But
Mountain Man Edge.
Mountain Man Edge is my favorite Edge. And him coming out, starting something with Roman, them going back and forth, Roman taking a fall for him and everything. So good. Dude, I'm so excited about the idea. And then they just announced on Talking Smack. And here's the funny thing is Seth Rollins was on Talking Smack.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
Yeah, and they just announced that it was going to be Edge and Roman at Money in the Bank. And they announce it while Seth is on Talking Smack, and he gets this look on his face like, what the fuck? Like,
he had that, but what about me? Look.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It was so funny, dude. But, yeah, Edge comes out. Edge and Roman. We're going to get Edge and Roman at Money in the Bank one-on-one. I got no fucking problems with it. Do you hate it?
Nope, absolutely not. Fucking, when Edge's music hit, I fucking got so excited. Just the fact that we're finally getting the one-on-one. And again, I'll admit I was wrong about the whole Daniel Bryan and Edge thing. Just fucking, it led to the right stuff. It got singles matches in the end of it anyway. So what can be wrong there?
Right? I mean, so far the last match Daniel Bryan's had in WWE was the singles match against Roman Reigns in what was a fucking fantastic match.
Standing.
And now we're going to end up with one-on-one Edge and Roman Reigns. Like,
Can't wait.
I appreciate your ability to eat a little bit of crow on this one, because a lot of people were really upset about that triple threat, being like, all they wanted was a one-on-one. Any of these one-on-ones would have been fine. And guess what? We get all of those things. We get to have our cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just do the thing you can do because you can do it finally. There's a good chance we never get anywhere near a triple threat again between Roman, Edge, and and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah, I can appreciate all that. And Edge looked crazy as fuck. He looked fucking crazy, dude.
The only thing that weirded me out was him yelling at the camera at the end. I was like, but he's on the ramp. Why are you yelling at the camera?
That was so weird, dude. He's like, "Where are you, Roman?" And I was like,
Kind of got a chuckle.
"Yeah." I was like, "Isn't he like right there though?"
That's what I said too. I was like, but he's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, just turn to your right. You're right. He's over there. He's on the ramp.
I was like, has Edge been doing so many Zoom calls that he think he needs to look into the camera to get an answer for stuff? Like, how bad has the pandemic hit him? He's just so used to video calls. Where's the camera? I want to talk to Roman. No, Roman's also there. He goes, I don't understand how that works.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the mountain man look. What else do you expect?
Yeah, that's true too. Well, yeah, dude. I think I'm ready to talk about Raw if you are.
Let's do it.
I'm excited, dude. I love Edge. I love this Roman thing. I'm not bothered by it one bit.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm going to go back. So Raw did open up with that little backstage segment with Adam Pearce and Sonya talking to Riddle. And Riddle has that little handwritten note that looks like Drop Dead Fred wrote it. And it says that it's from Randy Orton, and he ends up getting into the opening battle royal to... What was the battle royal? To get, like, does someone get into the Money in the Bank match by winning it? Is that what it was?
Yeah, the winner, since Randy wasn't able to make it, the winner of that battle royal took Randy Orton's spot. But again, it was just Matt Riddle going in there to take Randy Orton's spot. So at that point, shouldn't it have been? It was kind of weird. It was confusing. Like the battle royal was for Randy Orton's spot.
I thought the idea was that someone gets. Did Orton get hurt? Like, I just feel like I don't know what's happening.
No, they Pearson Sonya said something about Randy's not here due to some kind of circumstances. Randy wasn't here tonight, so he wouldn't be able to compete in the triple threat. So we had to. So they immediately had the battle royal. Yeah, so they had the battle royal to find out who was going to take the third spot. But Matt Riddle offered to take Randy Orton's spot, but then he threw himself in the battle royal, which was just very confusing.
Which also, there's a possibility that he was in the battle royal anyways and didn't know it because he's always high. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there it is. Due to
that was the only
circumstances, Randy Orton's unable to appear, and a replacement will be made in the battle royal, and that's when. Oh yeah, and then there was the note where he's like, "Hey, take my place," and then he just goes and enters the battle royal. So Matt Riddle does win the battle royal, but halfway through the battle royal, the 24/7 title changed hands like 3 times, and I wasn't really feeling any of that. I don't know. What'd you think about this whole thing? I was obviously kind of
neither,
confused.
especially-
I think I missed the first couple minutes. Maybe that's why I'm so confused. But
There wasn't really much to it. They just, after they announced the Battle Royal was announced to take Randy Orton's spot. Matt Riddle went in there saying he would take Randy Orton's spot, but he wanted to earn that spot again. And I'm like, but he's already in the match. Like, what? I'm like, but okay, go with it. I'm like, I get it. It's cool that he's trying to stand up for Randy and all that, like trying to do this for Randy, but like, does he realize that he doesn't really have to? He's already in the match. Like, what's the point at this point? But it was the the 24/7 title thing again. It hasn't been seen in so long now, and now all of a sudden they're like, we're putting it back on TV. Do you care? Like, no, not really. You can try, but you still got people who don't give a shit about it, sadly. Wait, I can't hear you at all.
oh, how about that? Am I back?
Yep, good.
All right. That was my
Episode
bad.
1, take a drink.
It was just
Technical
episode 1.
difficulties.
No big deal. It was just first episode. Not a big deal. Well, at least you caught it when it was early. But
Right.
I'm at the point now with R-Truth, even his segments, I'm just not all that invested in or care all that much. I kind of enjoyed his back and forth with Jackson Riker a little bit, but I felt like that went on a little longer than it ought to, and the whole R-Truth gets his baby back thing is, there's certain things that feels like, to me, it makes the guys in the back laugh.
Yeah.
And the 24/7 title is one of those things at this point to me, where it's like, well, I think the guys in the locker room laugh about it, so I think that's why people like it.
I think that was the point of the 24/7 title from the beginning. It was just to get some laughs out of somebody, and it was just, it's not really doing it for anybody really anymore.
Something just occurred to me. I'm going to probably go into it in depth a little bit on Thursday.
Okay.
But do you think that because wrestling fans have this inherent need to feel like they're part of the show and like they're insiders, like they have to feel smart, do you think that they find themselves enjoying the things that are just meant to, quote, pop the boys so they feel like insiders?
I mean, that freaking shit wouldn't surprise me. They feel
'Cause it would
like
make
they're
a-
insiders, so they just
Right?
kind of laugh at it as well. Like,
Yeah. Like, oh, I get the joke, therefore it's funny. Or you can go, or it's not funny because it's not your friends. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because I feel like a lot of what we see on AEW is inside jokes. And I feel like a lot of the crowd is laughing so they can feel like they're inside. Where I feel like with 24/7 titles, it's the same thing. It feels like an inside joke, which is why I don't care for it. But when I hear people saying how much they love it, I feel like it's the type of people who want to say they are in. You know what I mean? It's funny to me because I get the joke because I'm inside and it's an inside joke and I get it. You'd have to be you have to be in the know to truly get it. That's how I'm starting to feel about the 24/7 title.
yeah, I could see that. Like, I only see people that actually. I've seen people that say that they are like, I enjoy the 24/7 segments, and I'm like, are you just saying that, or do you really actually enjoy them? Like, it doesn't feel like it at all. There's nothing really enjoyable about it. It's just it was off TV for so long, and now everyone didn't even like remember it, and now they're just trying to put on a freaking front that like, oh look, the 24/7 title's back, cool.
Yeah. And I'll give him this. I like R-Truth. I think he's really good. I think he's incredibly entertaining as a person. I think typically he's pretty funny most of the time.
He's a phenomenal wrestler.
Oh, his wrestling is fucking outstanding.
Yes.
But at the same time, I don't think that everything's a home run every time. And I think the 24/7 title is something I'm just kind of checked out of. I'd just rather not. It seems like a waste of time to me.
Yeah. Now it's run its course.
Yeah. Like you said, it was gone for long enough that we didn't even care that it wasn't around. I mean, so much so that like the last memorable thing that happened with it was when Bad Bunny won it, and then he just handed it away, and we didn't see it again until now. Because Bad Bunny had a whole other run without the 24/7 title that was far better than anything 24/7 title's done anyways. But, well, either way, Matt Riddle wins the Battle Royal. At the end of it, he makes them play Randy Orton's music. He goes up and does the pose. He's spooked by the fireworks, and he does the Randy Orton stuff. I saw a lot of people really fucking loving it. I think I dug it. I think overall I liked it. I think Matt Riddle's doing pretty solid in the ring. I liked that it came down to Matt Riddle and Damian Priest. I thought that was pretty cool.
Those two. I want more of those two.
Yeah.
One-on-one.
Yep. That's a lot of what I got out of that Battle Royal is, Damian Priest and Matt Riddle would have a great rivalry. You know?
Yeah. I get why they did it. I immediately was disappointed because I honestly thought Damian Priest was going in. I wanted Damian Priest in so bad. When Riddle won, I was like, why didn't I not see that? Like, he's out there doing it for Randy Orton. It's just, it kind of felt like the Battle Royal was pointless because all you had to do was just go, hey, Matt Riddle's in for Randy Orton. But he went out there and won it anyway, just so he could be in there for Randy Orton. I'm like, all right, well, I get it. We're making Matt Riddle look really good, though, honestly, because of the whole he's doing it for Randy, and look at the way he wants to step up and go in there and compete twice. And I'm like, all right, I get it.
And they had to do that otherwise, because, I mean, for one, Matt Riddle, they're definitely pushing pretty good. Like, he's solid. He's going to be in the main event picture for a while moving forward. But if you had Matt Riddle just clean in a match against AJ and Drew and just loses, it doesn't look great, right? It just looks like, he can't hang with AJ and Drew. But if you have him through a Battle Royal that was exceptionally long for the record, then he's already gassed, right? How much could he have left in him? Like, when you're in the heat of the fight, you can get through a lot of the aches and pains, right? You don't notice them, but an hour after the fight, you start feeling shit a lot. So now here he is 2 hours later going into a new fight with a bunch of aches and pains from his first fight. It makes it it makes the loss mean a little bit less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt him as bad.
So, yeah, like I said, I get where they went with it. It made Matt Riddle look really good, honestly. And that's a plus in my book because I want them to make Matt Riddle look good. I want to see Matt Riddle up there in the world title scene, like, badly.
I mean, at this point, I think I'm on board with that. I've not been the biggest Matt Riddle supporter for a while. Just was never super impressed by him. But the more I see him in the ring, the more he wins me over in the ring. I mean, as much as I haven't enjoyed a ton of his comedy in the back, I feel like his pairing with Randy Orton has gave him a focus in what he's doing in a lot of senses, and has made his backstage stuff a lot more enjoyable to me personally. And I'm starting to get on board with all that. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that he delivers in the ring on a crazy level.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people that I see on Twitter all the time that immediately turned on Matt Riddle because of the stupid fucking allegations that were going on and all that shit. Like,
yeah,
again,
I just don't know enough about it. Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, we're not a part of that side of things. So I don't know enough about any of that to say, like, it will or won't sway me one way or the other. I just don't know anything about it. I saw that there was a lawsuit involved. I saw that he's doing stuff with his lawyer, someone else doing something with their lawyer, and I just imagine that's going to play out the way that it ought to. But I just don't know enough about it to let that sway what I'm seeing. But when it comes to what I see on TV, he's fantastic, man. He's doing such a good job in that ring.
Yes.
Let's see. After that, we had Shayna Baszler in that backstage promo with Nia and Reginald, where she was doing the card trick thing, except she didn't actually do the card trick. She just shuffled her cards a bit. I liked Alexa being in the background, just kind of lurking around, being creepy and weird. I think I also like. Oh yeah, she was just back there staring. It was weird.
Oh, I missed that. Shit, I'm on it. I have to go back and find that.
Oh yeah, you should. She's just back there, and then when they leave, there's just like a second where you can see her with the light on her in the back.
Shit.
But Shayna Baszler, I've seen because I forget where I saw it, but she does like card tricks. She's really into card tricks and stuff.
Huh.
So I thought she was gonna do one on air, and I was like, oh, that's cool. But she didn't do too much of it. She just picked the one card.
But
But
pretty fucking funny if she was doing that, and then Nia walked up, she pulled a card from behind her ear. I would probably laughed.
oh, that'd be funny. But I did like that Nia was like, oh, what the fuck are you doing? She's like, it relaxes me, and I was like, actually, that's probably true. I wouldn't be surprised at all to find out that Shayna's back there shuffling cards and doing tricks to relax her because you're doing stuff. I liked what it was. Let's see, at that point we had Jackson Riker slapping some backstage crate with a strap. Then you had the R-Truth stuff with Jackson Riker. I mean, overall, Jackson Riker's coming off real intense. I don't know that
Nobody likes him. It's just
Yeah. They're starting to push
It
that
is
he
what
was a
it is.
Marine. What were you saying?
It is what it is with him anymore. It's just I don't know how to freaking even react to Jackson Riker. He just doesn't emote at all. He has this blank stare on his face, eyes fucking bulging out of his face. He looks like it's just I don't really know. Like there's so many mixed feelings with Jackson Riker. All you see is people talking shit about him because of the whole fucking shit he put on Twitter and all that crap. It's just like I'm like, come on, let's just. I'm like, that's why I don't even bother talking about him normally because I don't really know how to really react to him anymore.
Yeah, I'm interested in a degree, but I agree with you. There's a lot of like, I don't know what I'm digesting here. I did see a number of people say that he was dressed like Hogan, and I didn't see that at all.
Yeah, I saw that shit.
Like Hogan's the only person ever to wear red or yellow. Like he had red with like little yellow spots on it. And I was like, okay, isn't that also the Chiefs colors? Like what if he's from Kansas City? I don't know. But I didn't see that personally. I was watching and I wasn't all like, are those Hogan colors?
Yeah,
but I saw
no,
online people were saying that, and I was like, okay. What was that?
I didn't point that out immediately. All I saw was people talking about that, and I went, of course, here we go, because Jackson Riker supports what he supports, so they immediately compared him to Hulk Hogan, and I went, oh well, here we go.
I would have bought into it more if he was wearing like yellow shorts and red knee pads, but he was wearing all red with like some yellow spots, and I was like, I just don't see it. Like I hear what you're saying, I don't see it. I think that's grasping.
Yeah, he just doesn't emote with me, and like I said, I have no interest really in him.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I liked him in TNA when he was with James Storm, and now it's just it just feels dry. It just feels like the water bed's dry, and that's it.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is with him for me. I just don't know what the fuck's going on. Man, they did a lot of backstage segments back to back, because so they did the Shayna Nia thing, then they showed Jackson Riker, they go to commercial, they come back, it's AJ and Omos. Like, and all of it was leading up to Shayna getting ready for her Nikki match. And like they did all these segments before they get to the match. But AJ was talking shit on Drew getting into the Money in the Bank, right? But AJ's not in the Money in the Bank. Oh wait, no, he was trying to get in the Money in the Bank on that last match. That's what it was.
He was in the last chance thing.
Yeah.
AJ kind of fucked up though. Though, because my brother pointed it out, because AJ said something about if Matt Riddle didn't stick his face in there, that I would have had a one-on-one with Drew McIntyre. And then it was like, but wait a minute, there was a battle royal to determine a winner. So either way, you would have had a triple threat match.
Yeah.
I was like, did you fuck up there or something? Like,
yeah, but at the same time, AJ's character always says outlandish shit that doesn't make sense, so it kind of works. Yeah. I will say the one thing I think that I don't usually point out stuff like it, but it's starting to get a little bit weird. The way he keeps referring to Omos as his personal Colossus.
Yeah.
It just comes off a little weird. Like, it's a little too possessive. Especially once you're a tag team and you're tag team champions. How you're still like, he's mine.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Omos is pretty fucking quiet. So there's that. So it could also just be like, hey, he's not disagreeing. He's just quiet. So don't you worry about him. He's mine. He's with me. You know what I mean? So I get that. And I don't think that's the way they're going with it. I don't think they're going a different direction with it. But I don't love it. I don't love it when he says he's my personal Colossus. I'm like, I just wish it was like a little less possessive, I think.
Yeah.
But they work. They work together really well.
Big man, little man dynamic. It works a lot.
Hell yeah, it does. Let me see. I think after that we got the match.
The Nikki match.
Yeah. Oh, there was a Nikki promo first. Nikki was
Yeah.
back there. Yeah, Nikki promo. She's back there with Lucha House Party, who's wearing like a cane getup, and then she cuts her promo with Sarah Schreiber, where she says that she is almost superhero, and so she says she is Nikki, or she says she is Nikki Ash, almost superhero, ASH. And then she goes out there and does her match. What do you think about this? The concept of Nikki Ash.
Honestly, again, when I first saw it, I wasn't crazy for it. I'm still not really invested in it yet. But again, if Nikki Cross can get it over, you might get me to sway my opinion. That's all I can say. If she can somehow get it over, I'm all for it.
And I think
I'll give it a shot.
I do think it's working. I really enjoyed it last night. I like the way that her entrance was really funny to me. The way she's kind of like jumping around and acting weird and goofy, and I don't know. There's something about her that's a little bit different. She's coming off crazy, but a different type of crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because Sanity Nikki was a lunatic and almost a monster. She was chewing on ropes and stuff, and this isn't that. This is like, Nikki, you're a crazy person. And then she's all like, woo, and jumps her way, and her doing like the fist up in the air like she's flying, but she's not. Her acknowledging that she's like not playing a superhero. She's someone who's aspiring to be as inspiring as a superhero. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's working. I really liked the first time she came out and she had all the blue face paint underneath the mask, so it all kind of like went together. I did miss the blue on this one, where it was just her regular eye makeup. I was like, nah, I like the blue.
Yeah, I kind of liked it without. I kind of liked it without the all the blue caked under that mask.
I like the blue.
But I can get why they would do it, because I remember when Hurricane lost his mask and he had green underneath his mask.
Yeah.
The one time, and I was like, oh well, now I see why. So it kind of looks like he still has a mask on. That's kind of clever.
That, and Kane used to do that. He'd paint his eyes red or black or whatever, and so I mean, it's just people do it, and I liked it. I liked the idea of it, but it is what it is. I really liked her getting the win over Shayna. I don't know what we're doing with Shayna, but at this point, I think we just play it through. You know,
I think Shayna's just done with this whole thing. There's nothing else to really. She's kind of in a fuck position right now.
Well, because she's still teaming with Nia. You had I did like Alexa coming out and fucking with Nia and kicking Reginald in the balls. That was dope. And then she just kind of walks away. Alexa gets the win, or not Alexa, Nikki gets the win. I like the way that Nikki got the win. She was using that kind of crazy roll-up maneuver thing.
She has like a double clutch, like crucifix, but it's a freaking La Maestro with it too, and it's weird. It's
the
cool.
La Magistral Cradle or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. That's like a Daniel Bryan thing.
Mm-hmm.
He used to win matches like that all the time. Remember, he would go around saying he had the best small package in the business. So fucking funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. But that's what Nikki's doing.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing about the whole Shayna Baszler thing that's people have been like sour about, like with the whole Alexa Bliss stuff. I think the only reason why they're shitting on the Alexa stuff is because First off, it doesn't feel like this benefits Shayna at all.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point.
plus Shayna's still in with Nia. That's one of the reasons why too, because everybody I feel like is at the point where they want to see Shayna by herself, but she's still with Nia. So it just, and then when she does get away, if she does get away from her, then what? She's stuck in this feud with Alexa. So like, again, it doesn't benefit Shayna. So that's why I feel like so many people are shitting on it.
Which is so ironic because everyone shit all over Shayna throughout NXT, and when she got to the main roster, they used to talk about what do they say? Shayna boring or some shit? Like they weren't clever with it, but it was like boring Baszler. They would say like people didn't like Shayna Baszler. They said that she was boring, that her matches were slow, they weren't exciting, it was all on the mat. And then she gets to the main roster, and it's all like, oh wait, she's a lot like a Daniel Bryan level of technique. She gets to the main roster, she's a fucking monster, destroys everyone, goes straight to Becky Lynch, loses to Becky Lynch at Mania, and then everyone's all like, yeah, serves her right. How horrible is this that she just destroys the entire roster? And then now that she's stuck in this thing, everyone goes, why isn't she just destroying the entire roster? Like, well, because we fucking tried that once.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But I agree with you. I think that's probably half the reason people are shitting over the Alexa thing is just because they feel like it's holding Shayna back.
That's why I feel like there's a lot of disconnect with it.
Mm. Wrestling fans just don't want to be happy with what they got. They just don't. But it was a really good match, I thought, with Nikki and Shayna.
Yeah, it was. I really like Nikki Cross. Like I said, if she can get this superhero over, I will definitely give it a chance because I'm not. Again, I wasn't a fan. I'm not a fan of it. But again, if she can find some way to get it over, you never know. It'll sway my opinion in no time.
I love the amount of wrestling fans who backpedal on shit like this, too. Not that you're doing that, but the amount of fans who saw it and said, oh my God, what's this horrible thing they did to Nikki? And then Nikki's husband's all like, oh, you mean Nikki's idea? And everyone goes, well, I mean, it's pretty good. Like, the idea that all these wrestling fans are backpedaling all the time when it comes to, is it a shitty idea if a wrestler comes up with it, or is it a shitty idea if Vince comes up with it if it's the same idea? You know what I mean? Because I keep wondering. So for one, I thought this from the get-go. I was like, okay, this gives her an identity, something to latch onto. This isn't bad. It's weird, but it's not bad. Then we find out it's Nikki's idea, and we go, oh, maybe she's got more ideas for it than we realize. This could be really good. Where in turn, a lot of wrestling fans were looking at it just saying, this is shitty. To me, I don't see the difference between where creative comes from versus if it's good or bad. Like, the Goon is good or bad regardless of who came up with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't understand the amount of people who go like, oh, Statlander's great because she's an alien. Well, if Vince came up with an alien, we're going to shit on it because Vince came up with it. But it's the same alien. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, look at Hurricane. He got over like a motherfucker as a fucking superhero. So if that's possible, I think Nikki can do it.
Yeah, so did Mighty Molly.
Yep.
You know, I just think that, like, hey, it's not always about who came up with the idea, but it is about who's invested in the idea, right? Because at the same time, yeah, Vince came up with T.L. Hopper. He came up with the Goon. He came up with Duke the Dumpster. He also came up with Mankind, and he came up with The Undertaker, and he came up with Gold Dust. You know what I mean? Like, he came up with
Not
Kane.
every decision is shitty. That's how it is.
Yeah. But it does have everything to do with how invested the person is to make it work. And all those people turned it into something of their own, but they ran with what Vince wanted first, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make it a bad idea. It just means that, hey, if someone's not invested in it, it's not going to work. So to know that Nikki's invested in it early is awesome.
Yeah.
So I got high hopes for it. I do. Let's go. Kofi Kingston took on MVP in a promo. What do you think about this? Kofi Kingston's promo on MVP.
Absolutely excellent. It to me, again, was the realest I've ever seen Kofi Kingston since he went to New Day. This was like legit. Like, he didn't make any jokes, nothing. It was just straight telling MVP how it is, and that's it. And I absolutely loved it.
I thought it was so good. To me, it was a bit of a callback of right after Kofi won the title. He had a number of feuds where he was serious in his promos here and there. Like, he would come out jokey, and then somebody would say something, and he'd be like, no, you've got me messed up. And so he would, like, flip a switch on them. And it was, to me, kind of a callback of that, of, like, that same kind of attitude of him being like, you've got me messed up. You think you're going to do this thing and get away with it, but you underestimate me. And that's been the reason why I've gotten so many championships, is because everyone was always underestimating me, and you're about to get fucked up because of it. I love the way he talked about Kofi Mania. I love the way he talked about MVP. The way he talked about what he did as a champion. Woods, yeah. Yeah, I love the way that he even talked about, like, when I was a champion, I went to Ghana. When Bobby's a champion, he's partying with women. Mm-hmm. You're all like, yeah, different types of champions, I guess. Like, it was just dope. It was awesome. And I think that it also leads into Bobby's heel nature as a champion. He's supposed to be a heel. Him partying with these women is supposed to be a heel thing. That he's just partying and being on top, but he's also doing that because he feels like he's indestructible. Indestructible?
Indestructible.
Undestroyable.
There you go.
Got it. But he also happens to be a fucking beast, so it's hard to argue with him. You know what I mean? Like, guys like Conor McGregor did the same shit when he was on top, when he was a champion, partying all the time, because it's all like, oh yeah, I'm the baddest motherfucker in the world. Tyson, same thing. I'm a bad motherfucker.
Yep.
Ali, I'm a bad man. It's all there, dude. Real champions of real fighting party a lot once they get on top because they feel like ain't nobody taking me down. So I love that Bobby does this way. And I like that MVP calls out people calling the women hoes and shit. Because, yeah, fuck you guys for saying that. We've been saying it since episode 1. Does not look like a Godfather thing to me. It looks like a bunch of women and men partying.
They're honestly pretty damn classy.
Yes. Confident and classy. You can be revealing and classy at the same time with your confidence. 100%. I agree with that. And I love that MVP will tag them all and stuff. And you go and look up their things and you're like, oh, some of them are cheerleaders for major NFL teams. Some of them are fitness coaches. Some of them have their own like lines of clothes and stuff. You're like, they're all successful women who are partying with what they perceive to be successful men. Makes sense to me.
Something that, again, since I didn't really actually see this, but somebody said that this was a report. I don't know if it's true or not, but someone said that apparently the women actually enjoy doing this, and that some of them actually want to go with the company when they're doing, like, when they go back to crowds and going and touring, and that's like amazing because that just shows like. I think it's a great thing for them. Oh yeah. I think it's awesome. I think it gets visibility on them. How many of them started selling stuff since this happened? The one that I've seen people call out the most, the shorter one with the bob with like big arms where she looks like she could probably choke someone out. She's like a fitness coach and she has her own line of stuff. I bet you her sales have skyrocketed on stuff since being on this show. You know what I mean? Surprised.
And she's also like a kid and she has a kid and is in her 40s. And you're like, wow, she's like the best. She's in the best shape of everyone out there. And she probably has the most reason to not be. She's super dedicated and fucking awesome. I mean, I don't know how to put it over enough, I guess is what I'm saying. I think like I support her. She's fantastic. Go buy whatever she sells if she sells stuff, I guess. But I could understand why someone would want to continue on the road because it's like, hey, why not? Get your name out there. Jeremy does say in the chat, I wish Kofi would have brought up the video of MVP and Chad crying when Kofi won the WWE title at Mania. He's done it at least once. Did he not in this promo? I thought he did. I thought he said MVP, you watched it and you cried. I know he definitely said it on that promo with Xavier Woods in the back. Mm-hmm. He's definitely brought it up at least once. I don't know if he brought it up in this one, but I thought he mentioned MVP crying or something, or MVP being moved by Kofi Mania. And that's when MVP said something like, yeah, I was, but this is different now. Like, if it wasn't this promo, it was one before it. But it's been brought up, and I think it's great that it was. Let's see, but I love it. Makes me excited. Bobby Lashley, Kofi Kingston, let's go. Let's do it over and over again. I'm excited for whatever comes out of this.
I'm actually looking forward to it.
I think you could believably have Kofi take it off of Bobby.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the move you do, but I think it's believable.
That's what I think they're actually doing well with Kofi right now. Is it feels like it does kind of feel like a rerun of Kofi Mania, but it feels like there's something a little bit different about it.
If we could get semi-political for a second.
Okay.
How fucking cool is it for little black kids to be watching WWE right now and see Bobby Lashley as the champion, see MVP as the main mouthpiece, and to see the New Day coming at Bobby? Like, the whole main title picture outside of Drew is a bunch of different type of black guys. You know what I mean? Yeah. Nobody's like a stereotype of anything. You have successful black men doing what they do. You have nerd types with New Day, goofy, fun. You have serious athlete, businessmen types with MVP and Bobby Lashley. Like, how fucking cool is that?
It's amazing, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, because we think about it, we take it for granted. You know? When we grew up, it was all Stone Cold and Foley and Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. And we're like, yeah, I could do that. Yeah. That could be me. And they had, I mean, in our era, we had, you know, Booker T and Mark Henry and The Rock, but it was all a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like, this feels different what's happening now. And I think it's just so fucking cool that there's a group of kids right now who are watching going like, yeah, the main event all looks like me.
It's a pretty big motivation for them, and it's amazing to see for them as well.
Yeah. Think of the main event last week on Raw. Bobby Lashley against Xavier Woods. Kofi on the outside, MVP on the outside. Fuck, man. That's dope. I just think that's awesome.
It is. It's incredible.
Yeah. If only we had more black writers to talk in their voice for them. Or we could bully them out of positions.
It's fucked up still.
Wait, I'm here.
It's fucked up. Oh, damn it. We have a producer.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, producer lady.
Not able to hear anything, but that's fine.
Why not? Should be a multi. Is your switch on?
Oh, that's because I'm not plugged in. That's fine.
I plugged you in.
No, you didn't.
Oh, it's not plugged in.
Nope, that's dangling.
All right, plug it in. Because that means they can't hear you either.
It's going to get messed up.
No, it won't.
I can like partially hear her.
Yeah. Plug it in.
Hold on.
Plug it in, plug it in.
He makes a really good point. He's saying plug it in.
Hold on.
Just like the thing. Clap on. Clapper.
The lights just go off right now.
No, we've all got the clap. It's good. What?
Hello? Is this thing
There she
on?
is.
Yep.
Woo!
Woo! All right, what were you going to say?
I wasn't sure if you guys had already talked about that. About the...
Oh, we did.
I was just so bummed for her. So bummed for that writer who pretty much got pushed out of position by fans, which of course the company's going to say it had nothing to do with fans, but come on.
That's true. They can't bury the fans. They can't be like, well, you guys said it and we did it. Like, they can't say that shit.
They said that it had nothing to do with that podcast appearance.
Who said that on their behalf?
I have no fucking idea. That's all I saw.
Sean Ross Sapp's the only person I saw who said that.
Somebody said it. I don't know who said it. I just thought they were stupid.
Are you saying he's not completely correct in all his information?
And we talked about it earlier. The idea of him getting any information from that level to me is laughable at this point. But for him to say the company says this, well, of course they say it. And of course you report it because that's what they say. And I do think that he does what he believes to be the truth. However, if the fans bully you into firing somebody, you don't say, well, the fans made us do it. You can't bury the fans that way. You have to say, oh, no. The fans aren't wrong here. And you, of course, you have to say it has nothing to do with the podcast appearance, because technically it has nothing to do with the podcast appearance. It has to do with the fan reaction to the podcast appearance. You know what I mean?
Yep. The online wrestling community is pretty horrible. It's a shame. Could have had more representation in the back.
Yeah.
We even talked about it online a little bit and on here before, where it was just like, hey, is it not a net positive to have a black woman on creative in the writing team? Like,
yeah.
Oh, and I loved how people were arguing with us online, saying how many more women could have been qualified. And it's like, well, that's not the argument. The argument is she's here. She's hired for her skills. Let's see what she's got.
That's right. Give her a freaking chance.
that's true too. We don't know who applied and who didn't, who was turned away and who wasn't. I even said, what are your sources? Because someone's like a verified, well, not verified count, but somebody used to work for WWE, like, had mentioned, he goes, the amount of people who were turned away for this job. And also like, where's your source on people being turned away? And he goes, well, I'm not saying they were. I'm just saying that they probably were. And a source isn't needed to say that there's more qualified people. And I was like, a source is needed if you're claiming that people were not hired for this position and this person was. If you're saying someone more qualified was turned away, I need to know that. Because the argument isn't, is there someone more qualified in the world? It's, is someone more qualified in the room trying to get that position? You know what I mean? And as far as we know, she was qualified for what they needed. We decided as fans that we were going to shit all over everything and force her out regardless of what she could be providing. Because of what we thought she wasn't.
Didn't know the product. Because she said she didn't know the product. And that's the only freaking reason why they shit on it. It's because she didn't know the product. And that's the main thing they took out of it, was because she didn't know the product, that they were, then she's not qualified to work here and we don't like this. Get the fuck out of here. And it's just like, can you give her a fucking chance to do something? Like,
yeah. And to speak positively about AEW for a minute, which could surprise some, Tony Khan had no experience in being a promoter or a booker or anything. All he'd ever done was watch wrestling and read magazines. He has no fucking clue what he's doing. And he seems to be doing okay as of now, right? Yeah. So maybe you don't have to have experience with the product in and of itself to say you can maybe make it work. Because you know what Tony Khan also has? A fucking team of people around. Oh, money. Oh, my God. He's got a team of people around him.
What? I was just answering.
You know, he's got the EVPs with him. He's got other people who've been in the business to help guide him through it. Again, she wasn't alone in that room. But we've already talked about it. We don't need to keep beating on it.
All right, sorry.
Nope, didn't mind to talk about it again.
Yeah.
Sorry. But
Let's
yeah,
see.
Cool to see everyone on main event level.
Yeah, it's just really cool to see that. I'm a fan. Let me see. I'm just double checking because I feel like I'm about to miss something if I skip to the next thing, which I know is.
Love watching Bobby. I mean, I like watching all of them talk. Honestly, I think they're just all such good talkers. As much as people used to shit on Bobby, I think he's really, really come into this character. I love it.
Yeah, I love this version of Bobby Lashley for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, that brings us to the Eva Marie and Dewdrop segment of the show. They went into a match against Asuka and Naomi, and Eva Marie was the winner of the night.
Oh, boy.
What happened? That's what happened. That's what they announced. And your winner, Eva.
Justin's
winner,
already out.
Eva Marie!
She has the fucking highest pitch voice I've ever heard in my life. Holy fucking shit.
It's like she just came in and they said, all right, we want you to be as annoying and as obnoxious as possible. She's like, okay, I think I could do that.
I imagine that they were in a meeting with her And they're just all like, what do you like? And as she describes stuff, they're all just sitting there gritting their teeth and go, just do that. You're just naturally hard to deal with emotionally.
Wow.
So you hated this all, right, Justin?
I'm all out on freaking Eva Marie. I wasn't invested in the beginning.
So do you hate Dewdrop?
No.
You don't hate Dewdrop?
Absolutely not. I hate the fucking name, but I don't hate her at all.
So are you rooting for her?
So you're
Yes.
Oh, so you're rooting for Dewdrop.
Yes.
But you hate Eva Marie.
Yes.
That sounds like it's working.
Yeah, so you're not just walking away from the TV or flipping the switch. You're just more hatred filling you as you watch her, as you just continue to watch Eva Marie, right?
It boils inside just slowly.
Yeah,
That's pretty damn effective.
Let the hate flow through you. Here's the deal: is I think the Eva Marie thing is working because I think Eva Marie might be the best heel in the business right now because she's eliciting real fucking hatred from people. People are pissed, and Justin, you are as well. At the end of this segment, I believe you tweeted out something about getting Piper Niven away from this useless, ringside standing, worthless competitor who's not even competing, right? Along those lines?
Yes.
But how, if you could step back a little bit and acknowledge that there's a possibility you might be getting worked. Eva Marie, the whole thing here was she was trying to teach Dewdrop a lesson on why she should listen to her. She even tweeted out, Eva Marie did. She goes, as a future WWE Hall of Famer, it's my duty.
God.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, damn, she is good.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was all like, oof, brutal. Because even me,
oh dear God.
He's like, I threw my phone immediately.
But still, one of the women that everyone's continuing to talk about.
She gets a response. She gets hatred. She gets actual boos. I mean, I guess we don't know because we don't have the audience. But on Twitter, I seen everyone saying, I can't stand Eva Marie. And how do we get Piper Niven away from her and stop being called Dewdrop? And the thing that's so good about it is in these segments, Piper Niven is back there rolling her eyes at the name Dewdrop. Yeah. She's on your side. You're on her side. Mm-hmm. This is doing so much to build Piper Niven. That to me, it's just like artistry. I'm like, this is amazing. They found, like, when Eva Marie left the company, I think there was a void of true hatred for the women's division. Everyone respected everyone in that division so much that it's all like, yeah, we could maybe get a few boos here and there for Anaya, but it's hard to get people to boo a lot of the women because they just love women's wrestling so much.
Yeah, we're not actually booing Bayley because we hate her. We love Bayley.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about it before. Go ahead. What was that?
How do you boo Bayley ever?
That's what I mean. We made sheep ears to wear in the audience so she could call us sheep. And the idea that Eva Marie was in the match and goes, I'm going to teach you a lesson on what it's like to be left alone in the ring. And she jumps off the apron and says, you're going to learn what it's like so that way you'll listen to me. And then Piper Niven, Dewdrop, doing the drop, happens to defeat Asuka and Naomi, two former women's champions, on her own. And then Eva Marie takes the credit. Even though her own teaching process backfired against her, she still took credit for the win. And people were pissed. I fucking love it. I love it so much, dude.
It's like she kind of just trolled internet, wrestling Twitter, and found what people are bitching about the most, and she's like, that's it. That's exactly what I'm doing.
That's what I'll do. I just love everything that's happening with the Eva Marie segments because I think it's giving Piper Niven more time. Piper's looking better than ever in the ring. Here's the other thing. You know what? I'm going to call you out, Justin, because you're here to defend yourself.
Oh, shit.
You said Piper should go back to NXT UK. You know what
Either that or
tells me?
NXT.
Yeah, okay.
Because all the people, think about it. All the people, what if there was people that actually didn't know who she was?
Which is a lot of people who don't, because a lot of people don't watch NXT UK.
Yeah, instead of throwing her immediately on here in this nonsense, you could have put her on NXT, regular NXT. She would have been.
For what? She's
in
got
the
more eyes on her
US.
here.
Yeah, but you're not getting anybody to give a shit about her, sadly.
You just told me you
Yeah.
gave a shit about her. You said you're
I
100%
give a
rooting
shit
for
about her
Piper.
because I've seen her. I'm talking about I give a shit about her because I've seen her before all this nonsense. This is the only fucking thing that, like, I just root for her to just get the hell out of this shit.
Right. But there's a lot of people who are watching this and going, what is she doing with that Eva Marie? She's clearly better than her. Who've never seen her because she's looking like a powerhouse. That woman just beat the shit out of Asuka and Naomi both. People are getting behind Piper. Here's the other thing. Anyone who's saying that she should go back to NXT UK where she was a dominant person hasn't been watching NXT UK because we watch it all the time. And she hasn't been on there in almost a year. They just had, leading into Kaylee Ray against Maiko, they had a whole tournament of women to try to find a number one contender for Kaylee. Piper wasn't even in it. She wasn't even in the tournament.
Yeah, she's not dominant like Maiko.
And she's not utilized over there much. I think this is actually a better placement for her than it was in NXT UK.
Yeah, you get to see some of her comedy chops and see her in the ring. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, her acting's been great. Her facial expressions have been awesome and super expressive. She's got people behind her, man.
And I know a lot of people maybe weren't following her, but I personally always loved her social media, just because I thought she was just so real and so funny. Like, just naturally, she's kind of goofy and funny.
It's true.
And so it's really cool to see her kind of translate that, on screen.
Yeah, she has an awesome personality online.
But you did say, out of everything you said, you still care about this character Piper, so that's huge.
It's big, dude. Big deal, man.
Eva Marie, I do not.
Right? Which is going to be perfect for down the line when you have a Eva versus Piper match.
Yup.
Oh, God.
How much are you going to be rooting for Piper, though? You're going to be like, oh, man, I hope she kicks her ass.
You bet your ass I'm rooting for fucking Piper Niven to destroy her.
See?
And what's going to happen when Eva Marie cheats and wins the first one?
Oh, God,
furious-
don't even say that.
The roar of the crowd is just going to be insane.
People are going to fucking lose it. They're going to be so pissed. Piper's first loss is going to be against Eva Marie. I'm telling you right
dear.
now. It's going to be so fucking cool.
Oh, boy.
But I love it. That's what I love about it, man. And I love people are like so emotional about these segments. I think everyone looks awesome. It's giving Asuka Naomi some screen time. Naomi's been looking really good.
Yeah, which I know a lot of people are pissed saying Naomi deserves better. But at the same time, I am just super excited to see her on screen. Like, anytime she's off screen, I'm like, oh God, what's happening? I haven't seen her in a while. I get concerned. And she said in interviews more than once that she wants a good story. She wants a really great storyline. It's not all about belts. So if this becomes something, even better.
Yeah, and she's been doing it for over a decade, right? Yeah. Probably doesn't feel terrible helping put over the next big star with Piper Niven. Because Asuka and Naomi are not in there making Eva Marie. That is not happening at all. They're in there making Piper, which is fucking cool. What I love about the hatred for Eva Marie is it distracts from all the Piper stuff, which is like actually the story that's being told. Did Justin hang up on me?
Well, I'm still here.
He's just pissed.
Yeah, I
at me.
really don't. No, I really don't know what to say about it. Like, I don't. Again, I'm not invested in anything she does. I'm more invested in eventually down the road, whenever the hell she gets the fuck away from Eva Marie.
I know, but this is what's going to make her
my
into
main
that star, I think.
focus.
You know what I mean? Because she'll break away from Eva in such a big way that's going to be dope. I wonder what happens with Eva after this, to be honest. Because right now it's clear it's like, oh, we're making Piper. But you can't just run that same thing over and over again. So I'm really curious what happens on the other side. But I love this ride on the way there because Dewdrop looks amazing. I like when she just steamrolls over every motherfucker. Let's see. We had a backstage segment with Miz and Morrison and Ricochet. It was bad comedy. I wish Miz really would just go to Hollywood and be done with it, because I bet you they could use a new Pauly Shore type.
Yeah, I used to be a fan, and I'm just really not now.
What do you think about Morrison and Miz, Justin? Do you find them funny? 'Cause it's okay if you do.
No. Honestly, it's run its course, whatever the fuck it was. It's just, I want to see Morrison by himself, honestly.
I thought the best thing for Morrison was going to be that Miz was injured. And I was like, not that I want anyone injured, but this could be a really good thing for Morrison to be on his own. And instead, they've really just stepped up the amount of Miz on the microphone. He was even on commentary here, and I had to turn it down. He was just so obnoxious and distracting from the actual match that I was like, if I don't turn him off, I'm going to stop watching the match altogether. And it's Ricochet versus John fucking Morrison, and that's not a match you want to miss. You know what I mean?
I almost
from Lucha Underground.
I almost felt like I've almost been feeling like almost like maybe Miz doesn't want to be forgotten about, because once people actually get to watch Morrison and see how amazing he is in the ring, they'll forget about all the silly, stupid shit, and they'll just want him by himself, which is true. We've been saying that since the beginning.
I do think there's a element of popping the boys on the Miz stuff.
Yeah. Kind of like
Which
a
is-
backstage joke.
Yeah. Which is why I think that some fans are liking it, because, I'm one of the boys. I also think it's funny. You're like, But Ricochet versus John Morrison was dope. I loved the ending of it even. That crazy splash off the side.
Oh, God, yes.
It was dope, dude. Looked crazy.
And then fucking people, of course, were like, there's a crash pad there. Again, compared to Chris Jericho, did you see the fucking thing? No.
Nope. Didn't see it. Doesn't matter.
Didn't
There
see
you
it,
go.
so it does not exist.
There you go.
Yeah, and they only have so much more time with the Thunderdome, so yeah, maybe do some of these crazy looking bumps before you actually have to take crazy looking bumps. Because the thing about Morrison and Ricochet, they will take those fucking crazy bumps. So maybe you can extend their career by another 5 or 6 years by saving them 1 or 2 before you get back on the road. I have no problem with it.
I remember I freaking screamed watching that crossbody to the freaking outside.
So good looking, dude.
I went, holy shit!
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, like, fuck. They're doing their thing.
Incredible.
Let's
Both of them.
only a couple more things real quick. What did you think about the Jackson Riker and Elias strap match? I thought
That's what
Elias
it
looked like
was.
$1 million, man. How good a shape is he in? Elias?
He's always been in like amazing shape, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always in surprisingly good shape, and I thought he was looking the best shape he's ever looked.
This is why I always have thought that am shocked he hasn't had a main event WrestleMania, like the main event.
Or even like an IC title or US title even conversation. Like, it's just crazy.
Like, he was such a fun heel.
What do you think of the match itself?
It's easily forgettable. It was too short. It was
Way short, right?
really.
For a strap match?
Yeah. 4 minutes for a strap match. It was nothing really.
Yeah. Like, we're doing it, and I was like, oh, this seems decent. And then it was just over, and I was like, oh. Like,
It did. It ended so just randomly.
yeah. I was like, oh, okay. But I was kind of looking forward to it because they were making Jackson look intense as fuck by slapping himself with the strap like I'm getting ready for it. And then it was a 4-minute match, and you're all like, ooh, okay. So, I don't know. I was a little let down by it from that regard.
Watch. My brother literally says, I'm telling you, Jackson Riker has a whipping fetish.
Oh, that's a good point.
He's like, watch, after the match, if he's still whipping himself.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just too short of a match, but I thought I was excited for it because just looking at it in general, I was like, oh, here we go. We got Jackson and Elias with a strap. These dudes are willing to put it all out there. This could be dope. And then it was a 4-minute match. So, what was that? What just happened? I heard ice.
Yep, that's because we got a follow from Pel Blue Eye. Thank you for the follow. It's awesome.
I would repeat that, but I didn't hear it correctly the first time. Blue Eye. Thank you, Poblano. Cheers. No, that's not what it was? Oh. All right. So we didn't end up with a proper strap match. So let's see. Charlotte Flair, Tamina, and Natalya had a promo in the back going on to have a match with Mandy, Dana, and Rhea Ripley. I don't know, man.
They are way too into this portraying Charlotte as the babyface. It's all I'm saying. I swear. It's like, even if she's doing heel shit, it still just feels like they're trying to portray her as a babyface.
She mirrors Drew McIntyre to me.
Wait.
She really does.
That was babyface Charlotte? I thought that was heel. Mandy and Dana are definitely babyfaces, and Rhea's been back and forth so much that it doesn't matter where she's at.
I would have considered Natty and Tamina the faces.
Okay.
Especially after that freaking promo where they were shitting on fucking Mandy and Dana's non-existent work rate. That's babyface to me. That's not fucking heel.
They were talking shit.
That's not heel.
Right.
That was clearly, it's obvious. It showed right there during that segment that they were fucking babyface there.
He's trying to get you to yell.
I'm not trying to get anybody to yell. I guess maybe the moral of the story here is that there's so many people involved here and we're not sure where any of them lie. Because I know that Tamina and Natalya were definitely babyface when they won the title because everyone cheered it. But that's all smart Mark cheering. Yay! Hard work pays off. But then they get back to the MJF, don't forget to boo me. And you go, boo, okay. So I guess I just don't know who the fuck is who in this. And I was kind of checked out. To be honest, I'm so not invested in anything Charlotte's doing that I think that it pulls away from Rhea.
Being with Charlotte being with her has brought her down so much. It's disgusting.
And it started at Mania 2 years ago. The beginning of the descent of Rhea was when she had her first match with Charlotte. She lost a match where everyone said, oh, what a great match. And then she never recovered from that loss. She just never looked good again. You're like, oh, yeah, she's not as good as Charlotte. You know what I mean? They really put the stamp of disapproval on that one.
It's fucking disappointing because Charlotte is just absolutely atrocious.
And I also don't think Tamina, Natalya, and Mandy and Dana as a rivalry needs either Rhea or Charlotte for this thing to move forward at all.
Does not.
because I'm interested in the Sexy Muscle Friends against the Legacy. You know what I
So
mean?
we're calling Natty and Tamina now. The Legacy. I like that.
That's what
Oh,
I
that's
call
our
them.
name, yeah.
That's what I've been calling them. That's
I
what
like
I say
that
at
name.
home.
Works.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I hope Bruce is listening. As always, cheers, Bruce Pritchard. Coming through.
He loves you.
But let's see. Flair won. I forget who she. Oh wait, did she?
Because Charlotte.
Yay, Charlotte. So yeah, there's that.
To make you want to dunk your head in bleach.
Yeah. Was there anything else about that whole thing? I mean, I don't think these two rivalries need to be married at all. They should split it back up to a single and a tag thing and be done with that.
Yeah, forget
I
that.
don't know.
Meshing them together, shit.
Yeah. Oh, what'd you think about? So let's get into the main event stuff. Drew McIntyre had story time with Drew again, where he tells a stupid story and he thinks he's compelling.
Fucking history teacher McIntyre over here.
I wish he would wear a little tie.
I don't fucking get any of it. The only thing I caught from this one was something about a king who shoved his Lucky Charms up someone's ass, and that was all I got.
Oh yeah, because he was trying to talk about Sheamus and stuff in Ireland, and
Yeah.
he talks about William Wallace like they went to school together, and I don't understand why anybody thinks any of their story time with Drew is any good. It's garbage.
I don't understand what any of it has to do with anything that he's doing.
It's a good point. He's like, oh, let me tell you a story. About a time I shit my pants in middle school. And you're like, why? Are you going to win the match with shit pants? Yeah, I might. Here's the deal. Even if I shit my pants, I'm going to come back and kick you in the face with shit in my pants. Is that the plan? Bah. Shit comes, shit goes.
Yeah, they don't really have a great story lined up for Drew.
Yeah, but
My
he tries to make
question
it
is,
sound
how
like
does
a
he shit his
proverb.
pants? He's wearing a kilt.
That's a good point. He's got a kilt.
How does he shit his pants?
Explosive diarrhea, Justin. What? That's how it works. All right, so we got that, and that happened, and then we ended up with Drew McIntyre defeating AJ and Riddle in the Money in the Bank qualifying triple threat match.
Honestly,
I
wish
did not.
AJ had gotten pinned.
What?
I kind of wish AJ had gotten pinned, because that really kind of was like a kick in the ass to Matt Riddle.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that by having Matt Riddle take the pin, it just solidified that, oh, Matt Riddle had the shit kicked out of him earlier, and he broke his foot and came back, and they just made Matt Riddle look, I don't want to say weak, because I don't think they made him look weak. They just made him look really softened up. You know what I mean? Like, he went through a lot. So the idea of him taking the loss wasn't so bad. He'd been through a battle royal. He nearly broke his foot, kicking a steel step with his knee, which is an interesting way to play that. Drew and his weird selling with the table was awkward. AJ and Matt Riddle in the ring together was fantastic. I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of Drew taking the win here. I don't want him in the Money in the Bank match. I have no desire to see him win Money in the Bank.
Drew is starting to turn into old Roman, and we're treading those waters. We're not even treading those waters. We're in those waters now.
Micah in the YouTube chat is saying, I get a nice geography lesson, some history. It's all very nice.
You know what Monday Night Raw is missing? Middle school topics. I miss US Gov. If only Raw was more like third period.
I mean, you saw what I said after the match. If you saw it, this really now is starting to just become a fucking pity party for Drew. It's it's too much. It is. Yeah. It's too much. You're trying too fucking much with him now. Like, if this is to give Drew McIntyre Money in the Bank, I hope to God him winning Money in the Bank is not going to be some freaking way where they're like, oh, well, he won Money in the Bank, so that immediately null and voids the Bobby Lashley thing. Because I'll be
think
pissed.
it is. I think it is, and I think when we get crowds, whoever he's up against is gonna get a lot of cheers.
I think it's what if he does win and he cashes in on Roman.
I hope he does, and I hope Roman spears the shit out of him and loses.
Yes.
We've had people cash in and fail before. I hope Drew does, with a pompous attitude, calls out Roman, cashes it in, and fucking loses. That'd be so dope.
Money in the Bank too. He'll win it at Money in the Bank. Roman will be done with his Edge match, standing there celebrating. Drew will have won the freaking Money in the Bank, and then Claymore kick, cash in, another Claymore kick. Drew gets his big moment in front of fans. WWE gets to freaking get all happy about it, and there you go.
I will say that I talked about it before, I believe, with Bishop on episode 1. I do think the possibility of Drew McIntyre winning and being denied the ability to cash in on Bobby specifically could be an interesting storyline in and of itself, and could be the type of storyline that could get someone behind him again, because right now no one's behind him. I don't think. Maybe the Scottish, I don't know, short people maybe. I don't know anybody who's all like, oh, Drew McIntyre needs to get the title back. I think everybody's, behind Bobby. But what if he wins the Money in the Bank and then it goes, he's the first person to win Money in the Bank who's not allowed because of stipulation to cash in on the champion. He has to wait till the champion loses it because he has a year anyways. And then if it doesn't happen within a year, what happens then? And I think that you could have a Drew McIntyre constantly looming, constantly trying to coach whoever. Which would fucking get on my fucking nerves if he was all like, oh, let me tell you how to beat Bobby. It's like,
so
oh, I could tell you how to beat Bobby. I've never done it, but stay out of the old knuckle buster. What does he call the Hurt Lock?
The Knuckle Buster.
Why? What happened? Yeah, I shook it because my knee hit it. Sorry, producer doesn't want me to move. I'm going to stand stoic and statuesque from here on out. Yeah, I think that it could be really annoying if Bobby was all like, oh, I'm going to help you beat, or if Drew was like, I'm going to help you beat Bobby so I can cash in on you. But at the same time, you could have a Bobby who's constantly winning with a Drew constantly looming, rooting against him and trying to help people cheat to win. You know what I mean? And you could get people who eventually get behind him because like, oh, we can't even cash in. How horrible is that? So I think it's possible.
Yeah. The only thing I'm concerned is that they're going to use Money in the Bank to null and void that fucking stipulation. And that's...
I think they could. I think it would be better if they used it to solidify that stipulation. Look, you have it. You can cash in on anyone except for Bobby Lashley. That's the deal. And then he's
just
all like,
Roman.
Yeah.
It just leaves Roman, and then it's going to freaking... I'm telling you, end of Money in the Bank. If he doesn't cash in at Money in the Bank, it'll happen at SummerSlam.
I think I'd rather see a Drew with the title with the box for like a year. Just constantly like it being almost like this tarnish. I can't even use this. You know what I mean? Like it's this fucking thing where,
Drew feels like that kind of guy that if he won Money in the Bank, it would be like, oh, it's eating a hole in my kilt. I gotta cash in this fucking instant.
And YouTube, Mika's saying Drew can cash in on NXT Championship, a title he was forced to vacate, would make Karrion Kross interesting to him.
Nice twist.
I'll be honest. You got me on the second half. The first half, I was like, get the fuck out of here with that NXT bullshit. Not to say I don't love NXT, because I do. But I'm not a big fan of like the main roster people, like a Charlotte winning Rumble going, I'm going for the NXT title. Not a big fan of stuff like that. I feel like it undermines the main roster. As much as they try not to say it's the main roster or it's the third brand or all that. But bottom line, it fucking is. We can all try to fool ourselves. I mean, if you truly believe NXT is equal to the main roster and is no longer developmental, then you're just completely worked into the whole kayfabe system. That's a kayfabe storyline that NXT is not developmental. It is, because the thing is people sign up to developmental contracts through NXT. They don't end up on TV right away. They're training at the NXT facility with NXT talent to eventually become TV ready. It is a developmental system that happens to have people who are pretty fucking good. But the idea of Drew versus Karrion, that sounds pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
I don't see a Drew character being like, oh, I had to vacate the title because of my arm and going back. I see him being more like, Bobby, you got something that belongs to me. Or Roman, you think you're head of the table. I'm the kilt of the table. People go, what? What part is the kilt of the table? But the idea of Karrion versus Drew is really fascinating to me. I like the idea of that a lot. But at the same time, I could wait till they're both on the main roster. I could wait for Karrion to come up. I think Karrion's too big for NXT anyways. And I don't mean physically in size. I think his character is too fucking good to be on NXT TV. He needs to be in front of more eyes. That's how I feel about him. And I'm not trying to shit on NXT. I do really like NXT. Although this last week was way too much comedy. We'll see what happens this week. Because it was bad comedy. So, less Gargano, more Cross. I'm in. Sounds like Micah doesn't believe in Cross, though. I don't know. I'm in.
Not sure.
All right. Justin. How excited are you to have Drew McIntyre and the Money in the Bank? You want to see Drew McIntyre and Big E on the top of a ladder?
More interested in Big E being in this. Drew's like the only person that kind of just brings it down for me.
I was really hoping Damian Priest would have ended up in the Money in the Bank somehow. I mean, there's still possibility, I suppose. But I really like the feeling of Money in the Bank to feel like people who don't always get a shot having a shot. And if Drew wins it, it's going to feel like such a fucking waste because he has title. He only wrestles for the title. Win or lose, he's only wrestling for the title all year.
Yep. And that's the thing that just, again, that's why I said he feels like old Roman. Just in the title picture too damn much.
Remember how Brock Lesnar came out in that one with Mustafa Ali and won the Money in the Bank?
Yeah, that one really pissed me off there because I fucking am against Brock Lesnar so much. I hate the fucking thing of, oh, I come back, I win a title, I'm off TV for 8 months, I come back, have one match, I'm off TV for 4, I'm back again for 4, like, no.
Hey, if you don't like it, your favorite should be better then. He's good at winning, man.
Wow.
And for a very long time. How long has he been with the company?
I believe he debuted in 2002, if memory serves.
That's a minute.
It's a long time to be the next big thing.
And John Cena.
Yep. What if Brock came out and cost Drew McIntyre Money in the Bank? Like if he was out there, you hear Brock's music, you're like, what the fuck is this about? And he just comes out and beats the shit out of Drew and leaves. And you go, oh, maybe Brock's not happy about losing it at Mania 2 years ago.
Oh, and then he just walks by Roman and Paul and just gives them a nod, walks off.
Winks and kisses.
No.
What?
Mine was better.
All right. That's what I would do if I was Brock. I'd be constantly winking and kissing at people. Can you imagine seeing Brock Lesnar in airport and you go, oh shit, that's Brock, and he just turns and looks at you and gives you a little wink and a kiss? I'd be like, fuck, sit down, don't look at him. Oh shit, Brock Lesnar owns me. Sit down, don't look at him.
It'd be so terrifying, honestly.
Yeah. Exactly. Don't wave him over.
I'd be like, Brock Lesnar just winked at me. What do I do?
What you do is cower. That's what you do. You cower. All right, Justin, is there anything you think we missed on Raw or SmackDown?
No, not really. I think we covered everything, really.
I think we went through it. I'll be honest. Raw, for the most part, the last several weeks has been pretty fucking good.
Yeah, it's been solid, honestly. I'll give it that.
Yeah, and who knows if that was because of a writer in the back.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying it's going to go to shit pretty soon.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Around the time it got better, around the time promos got better. So we'll see.
Mika is in the chat saying he'd lose his shit if Brock winked and then subsequently air kissed to anyone.
See? Yeah, that's what I mean. I would fucking, yeah, that'd be it. I'd be like I would see him big. That's Brock Lesnar. I'm gonna go see if I can get an autograph. I'm gonna go see if I can get a picture with him. And if he turned his head and winked and kissed at me, I'd be like, never mind. Sit down. Shh. He heard me. Shh.
That's his way of telling you he's gonna kill you. He just fucking winks and blows a kiss at you.
Oh yeah, that stuff happens in prison. It's a sign of dominance.
Jesus.
Justin, I'm glad you came on to say your piece, to speak on behalf of all of the IWC.
I appreciate you letting me come back on episode 1.
I didn't mean to rail you there with the Eva Marie stuff, but you're just wrong about it, which is fine.
It's like I've been saying, anyone who likes it, kudos to you, because it ain't me.
No, it's all good. It's the best thing that happens in all of wrestling when we still get worked as fans. And I think you're getting worked, and I think that's the best part for me. I get to watch it.
Mika's saying Brock Lesnar has a killer Joe Pesci impression, he bets.
I bet you Brock Lesnar sounds exactly like Joe Pesci when you make him mad. No. Justin, I'm always excited to have you on. The Dawn of the IWC can be found at JustinTime211. Is there anything news related or anything you think we missed that you wanted to make sure you got a chance to talk about?
Nothing for me.
We talked about it. Becky and Seth, cheers to you one more time. Congratulations on getting married officially. You already have the kid. Now you got the ring to match. All for it.
Yeah.
What? Isn't that how that works? I'm not good with contracts. Even those contracts. Producer scrolling. I think we're good. I think we did it. I'm really happy that we had Justin back on the show. That even after we beat him up on the show last week, he came back to defend his honor, and I believe he did a good job of it. Oh, what's up? We did say happy birthday to Serena Deeb.
Yes.
Oh my God. Producer doesn't even show up, and she just, can you believe this? Can you believe this? You see what I have to deal with? She comes on and oh my God. You see why we go producerless sometimes? All right. Justin, thank you for coming back. The Dawn of the IWC, the curator of our side of the IWC, just in time at JustinTime211. I am at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR, the show. This is Wrestling on the Rocks, where every show is our first show, and we will be back on Thursday to do episode 1 all over again. Guys, that's the last call. Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.